You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1774 1774 Chapter 398 Stepping into the Sea of Stars 5. It's amazing. It's so beautiful. The scene in front of them was indeed beautiful. An endless sea was floating in the air, decorated with stars. It was as if the stars were in the sea, rippling with blue waves. It was indeed a beautiful sight to behold. However, in the cabin behind them. Soon, a Tao protector said in a deep voice, "Beauty often hides danger. Be careful in the sea of stars. There are many demons lurking in the sea of stars. Also, there are many dragons in this place. The dragons are also overbearing. Even if we come from the immortal race, they will often kill us when we encounter the dragons. There are other dangers in the sea of stars. Be alert. Don't be careless." The Tao protector kept reminding the young men and women that this place was very dangerous. On Su Yu's side, Yun Sheng also smiled and said, "We've arrived at the Sea of Stars. Skyglow Island and 9-Star Island aren't on the same route. Brother Zheng, then we can't send you off. Thank you for your trouble." Su Yu thanked him and didn't say anything else. He was asking him to get lost. It's pretty good. I wanted to leave as soon as possible. If I followed these people, it wouldn't be good for me to go to 9-Star Island. If it weren't for the 3 mountains and seas, all of you fairies and fairies would have been beaten to death by me. The 3 mountains and seas were quite troublesome, especially the peak mountains and seas. They were quite troublesome to deal with. Soon, Su Yu got off the spaceship. At this moment, he had officially arrived in the Sea of Stars. The sea floating in the air was truly spectacular. Even Su Yu was a bit shocked. How could such a huge sea be so boundless? How could it float in the air? There didn't seem to be anything supporting it at the bottom. Besides being shocked, Su Yu was also a little excited. Sea of Stars. The most famous place in this place was the Starry Mansion. The Starry Mansion was about to open soon. According to the previous calculations, it should open next year. However, very soon, each race would choose a candidate to enter the Sea of Stars and first adapt to the environment, then, they would prepare to enter the Starry Mansion to explore. The Great Ming Mansion, the Great Xia Mansion, I don't know when they will choose a candidate. Previously, they said that the selection would end at the end of the year, and then they would probably have to bring people to adapt to the environment at the end of the year. Su Yu didn't know what kind of opportunities the Starry Mansion had. He only knew that this place had the Milky Way sand. It was a good thing that could purify willpower. Without this thing, it would be very difficult to open the secret realm of the Sea of Consciousness in the Great Xia Mansion. Moreover, willpower wasn't pure. With the Milky Way sand, the secret realm of the Sea of Consciousness would be a paradise for civilized masters. He watched Yun Sheng and the others leave. He wasn't in a hurry to enter the Sea of Stars. He would wait and see. It was really spectacular. There were 3 sea areas in the human realm that he hadn't been to before. However, Su Yu felt that no matter how spectacular the sea area in the human realm was, it wasn't as spectacular as this kind of floating sea. The heavenly battlefield, a magical place. Su Yu sighed and began to float in the air. After entering the sea, he still had to fly up. There was no one else. In front of him, the sea water was slapping against the void, but it did not fall down. It was also an extremely magical scene. Su Yu had to fly up to 10,000 meters before he could reach the sea level. At this moment, he could finally see the appearance of the Sea of Stars clearly. In the sea, the stars seemed to be in the sea. It was as if the sea had swallowed the stars. It was extremely beautiful. The surroundings were very quiet. At this moment, other than Yun Sheng and the others, the spaceship was still flying high in the sky. There was no one else. It was really beautiful. Just as Su Yu was thinking, in front of him, in the sea, a huge demonic beast suddenly jumped up from the sea and attacked the spaceship. A beam of sword light shot out. Within the ship, the immortal expert attacked, chopping down the demonic beast in the sea. It was at this moment that the cry of a bird could be heard. In the next moment, an enormous bird appeared in mid-air, blocking out the sky and covering the sun. Its sharp beak pecked at the ship. With a bang, a huge hole appeared in the ship. Booms rang out continuously. A huge battle broke out, and in the blink of an eye, the ship was damaged. The three mountains and seas quickly grabbed the others and flew off into the depths of the ocean. Su Yu watched with his mouth agape. Damn, it was so dangerous. As soon as he entered, he encountered two mountain and sea demons. These immortals were really unlucky. Seeing that they were ignoring him, Su Yu quickly flew away. He touched his chest, and his little heart began to pound. How exciting! There were so many demons in this place. If I killed a few of them, no one would care, right? Su Yu licked his lips and smiled. What a good place. The next moment, he quickly dived into the sea, turned into a stream of water, and disappeared on the spot. I am an aquatic race. The sea, my territory. There were probably also aquatic races here. This place was too suitable for the aquatic race to live in. What a good place. Not long after Su Yu plunged into the ocean, an aborigine appeared nearby. He looked around and soon, some water currents appeared on the surface of the aborigine. In the next moment, the aborigine also turned into a water tribe and swam into the ocean. Who said that the aborigine couldn't do it here? I can do it too. Floating earth spirit entering the water. 9-Star Island, I'm coming. After a while, some people entered the water and some soared into the air, flying toward 9-Star Island. The battle was also breaking out. When the two giant dragons flew over, the demons in the sea retreated and stopped attacking the dragons. In the Sea of Stars, the dragons were the most powerful force. In the Sea of Stars, geniuses began to gather. At the same time, some masked men and people from the heaven hunting pavilion entered. Soon, more teams entered. Some came to hunt geniuses, and some came to track Su Yu's whereabouts. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1775. 1775 Chapter 399 Tianxia Island, Mingguang City 1. Entering the sea. In the Sea of Stars, the Yuan Qi was dense. Once he entered the sea, Su Yu felt a huge resistance. The sea water was different from ordinary water, so it was not too dangerous. However, the resistance to entering the sea had increased quite a bit. Su Yu dived down and turned into a stream of water. It was actually quite difficult to dive down. He flew 10,000 meters into the sea, and the undersea continent on the ground was also very high. It gave him the feeling that the depth of the Sea of Stars was less than 3,000 meters. However, Su Yu quickly dived down. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Su Yu felt that he had dived at least 10,000 meters. Logically speaking, he should have reached the undersea continent below, but in the end, he still could not dive down. Looking down, it was like a bottomless abyss. If he continued diving, he might accidentally enter a small world. So mysterious. Su Yu was curious. What the heck was this Sea of Stars? Was the depth below unfathomable? If he continued diving, he might encounter the entrance to a small world at any time. It's a good place to temper my body. Su Yu sighed inwardly. It was a good place. The deeper he went, the denser the Yuan Qi, and the greater the pressure. The effect of tempering one's body in this place should not be weak. He circulated his breathing technique and absorbed a large amount of Yuan Qi. Soon, Su Yu turned into a stream of water and fled. He sensed a mountain and sea light rapidly approaching him from within the jade. Suyu did not want to encounter a mountain and sea expert as soon as he arrived. He had just entered the Sea of Stars, so he had to keep a low profile. However, he had to admit that this place was not bad. The seawater contained a large amount of yuan qi, and its purity was very high. It was a good place to cultivate. The prerequisite was that he could survive a mountain and sea demon. There seemed to be quite a lot of mountains and seas in this place. There could be a small realm entrance at any time. Just as he was thinking, a vortex appeared in front of him. A palace that looked like a crystal palace appeared at the bottom of the water. How dare you! Retreat! An expert from the crystal palace shouted angrily. Which expert? This place is the entrance to the giant crab realm. You are not allowed to trespass. Suyu looked at the vortex and quickly fled. Holy shit! I've only just arrived. I've only dived for a short while, and I already see a realm passageway. This Sea of Stars is too strange. The one who berated him seemed to be the sun and moon. The distance was quite far, about 3,000 to 4,000 meters. Suyu's perception jade couldn't sense it, and the Calamity Divine text didn't move much. It was probably because the other party wouldn't chase after him. The crux of the matter was that the realm passage was so close. Why didn't they arrange for people to guard it? There weren't even any patrols. They just arranged for an expert to guard the entrance. They didn't have any appearance at all. Looking at the human race, the entrance of the passage was guarded by hundreds of thousands of soldiers. There were mountains, seas, sun, and moon, and even unrivaled experts would appear from time to time. The human race's entrance truly had a grand appearance. A small race was a small race. In the giant crab realm, the giant crab race, he seemed to have heard of them before. They weren't a top 100 race. In other words, at the very least, with the 9th level of the sun and moon, a weak race was a weak race. With the sun and moon guarding the entrance, it could be considered a powerful race. Suyu quickly swam away. In the Crystal Palace, a huge golden crab had a vigilant look in its eyes. Which race's expert was it? It didn't investigate clearly. Water spirit race? If it wasn't for its sharp senses, especially in the ocean, where it sensed some fluctuations, it wouldn't have noticed any experts sneaking over. Sigh. The giant crab sighed in its heart. This was the sorrow of a small race. Especially since the realm passage was in the Sea of Stars, it was even more troublesome. There were quite a few experts here, and even the invincible ones often came here. The giant crab clan's realm passageway was at the edge of the Sea of Stars. Some experts liked to enter the water to take a look, but in the end, it often met experts. If it wasn't for the fact that the giant crab progenitor had peak 9th level sun-moon combat strength, and the realm passageway was here, allowing him to charge out at any time and borrow the power of his own realm, which was comparable to the invincible ones, then this passageway would have long been broken through by experts. The progenitor was right across the passageway, ready to fight at any time. The giant crab sighed in his heart. How difficult. Recently, there seemed to be more experts. From the looks of it, the giant crab realm had to find a backer as soon as possible. It was right at the entrance to the Sea of Stars. This side of the entrance was one of the few entrances where the immortals, humans, and demons came. As for the celestials, they usually walked across the Sea of Stars. If they had to choose, they could only choose among the immortal clan, human clan, and demon clan. As for the dragon clan, the dragon clan was too deceitful. Moreover, they were in the center of the 4 war zones. Among the 5 powerful clans, the most dangerous ones were actually not the human clan. If they really fought, it would be normal for them to beat the dragon clan first. They happened to be in the Sea of Stars, participating in the battle of the undersea continent. They were also the ones who joined the battle the fastest. Unlike the other major territories, the human clan was blocked by the Desire Sea Plain. The Immortal Clan and the other clans. There were special places right in front of them, blocking their way. It was still somewhat difficult to come over. The giant crab was thinking about something, and in the next moment, his heart trembled. A figure appeared in front of the Crystal Palace. His aura was extremely powerful, and his chi and blood were boiling. He didn't hide his whereabouts. His white clothes were like blood, and his hair was golden. However, his pupils were green. The person strolled leisurely. He stepped on the water, and the seawater dispersed. He walked to the front of the Crystal Palace, but did not enter. He said softly, "Is it the territory of the giant crab tribe?" "Yes. You are." The golden giant crab appeared and glanced at him. His expression changed slightly, and he quickly said, "Greetings, Lord Wuxia." The young man smiled and said, "Senior is the sun and moon, and I am only a mountain and sea. How can I be called a lord?" Then, he said with a faint smile, "The entrance to the realm of the giant crab tribe where Senior is near the passage of the East Sea. Recently, I have to trouble Senior to keep an eye out for me. It is mainly the whereabouts of a genius of the human tribe. If there is any news, inform me immediately." You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1776. 1776 Chapter 399 Tianxia Island, Mingguang City 2. Although the giant crab expert was in the sun-moon realm, he was filled with fear and trepidation at this moment. He hurriedly asked, "Sir, do you want to know the whereabouts of the human Suyu?" His heart was filled with fear. The celestial expert had actually come here. Zhan Wuxuang. Previously, he was ranked second on the heaven roll. Now, he was ranked third. He was at the 8th level of the mountain and sea realm, an expert who had rebelled against the sun-moon realm. He had killed a sun and moon realm expert. Instead of defeating or exchanging blows, he had truly killed a sun and moon realm expert. At the sun and moon realm, no matter how weak he was, he wouldn't be too weak. That was a few years ago. How strong was the current Zhan Wuxuang? Zhan Wuxuang's golden hair fluttered in the wind. He smiled and said, "It's him. Senior should know his appearance. Of course, he might not dare to use his original appearance to come here. He just needs to properly investigate. There's no need to pay special attention to him. If you meet him, Senior can contact me at any time." With that, a voice transmission talisman floated over. Zhan Wuxuang smiled lightly and said, "Senior, I'll have to trouble you then. I wouldn't dare. If there's any news, I'll inform my lord in time." Zhan Wuxuang smiled and didn't mind. He stepped into the air, as if the enormous pressure of the water didn't exist. He floated up a bit, and very quickly, he stepped into the air, leaving behind the giant crab's claws that were trembling. Zhan Wuxuang. What a powerful pressure. An expert on the heaven roll, who had reached the 8th level of the mountain and sea realm, was indeed more powerful than the sun and moon. It wasn't that he had never seen the sun and moon before, but that he himself was at the 3rd level of the sun and moon realm. However, when he saw Zhan Wuxuang just now, he had a vague sense of danger. This feeling was very clear. Of course, it wasn't strange. As a member of the Protoss race, as well as the primordial Protoss race, and the highest-ranked genius, he must have many tricks up his sleeve. If a small clan like the Sun and Moon were to really fight, he might not necessarily be stronger than Zhan Wuxuang. Even if he was a bit stronger, he would die. Zhan Wuxuang might not be the one. Just as he heaved a sigh of relief, a little golden dragon dived into the water and shouted, "Giant Crab Clan, keep an eye on Suyu's whereabouts. If anything happens, report to the Dragon Clan immediately." Cursing in his heart, the giant crab recognized this guy and quickly said, "Rest assured, Your Highness Wuyo. If you see Suyu, you will definitely report to the Dragon Clan. Okay. Long Wuyo flew through the air. He did not feel any discomfort in the water. He was a dragon, so how could the seawater affect him? I can't pass. The giant crab waited for him to leave. Once again, he felt helpless. His sun and moon had returned to the giant crab world, and he was also an overlord of a region. He was called the king and the ancestor, but here he was, the gatekeeper. The crux of the matter was that the giant crab clan's deterrent force was too small. Each and every one of these fellows only notified him when they reached the gate. If it were the other powerful clans, they would try to beat them to death. It was not like the big golden crab had never gone out to travel. However, not to mention the passageways of the other powerful clans, as soon as it stepped into their territory, experts would come to expel it. If it didn't leave, they would kill it. If it went to the human clan, the pure evil army would soon appear. If it went to the immortal clan, the immortal court guard would also quickly appear. If it went to the god clan, it would be the same. If it went to the demon clan, they wouldn't expel it. They would immediately send the bloodfire demons to kill it. Anyway, he hadn't seen what the realm passages of the powerful clans looked like. He didn't even know where they were. Then, he looked at the crystal palace where he lived. It looked luxurious, but in fact, anyone could come and sit there. Compared to luxury, safety was more important. He didn't even have the slightest bit of face. Suyu naturally didn't notice what happened in front of the giant crab realm passage. He was currently carefully scouting the area. If he encountered any experts, he would quickly avoid them. He also didn't dare to rashly clash with the experts of other races. There were quite a few creatures here, and if a big battle broke out, it would be easy for others to notice. He also didn't know that Zhan Wushuang of the Protoss race had come. That was the existence of the mountain and sea counterattacking sun and moon realm. In any case, Suyu definitely wouldn't be a match for it, including Modwa. In general, he wasn't a match for it either. The other party's cultivation base was relatively high, and he was at the 8th level of the mountain and sea realm. He had truly relied on his own strength to kill the sun and moon realm experts. Suyu continued to wander in the sea. After wandering for a while, he saw something strange and wanted to surface again. Perhaps, the surface of the water would be even more interesting. Very quickly, Suyu floated up. A moment later, Suyu appeared. At this moment, he did not turn into a stream of water. Instead, he turned into a human-shaped creature, and a small horn could be seen on his forehead. The mountain-breaking ox that was pretending to be a mountain-breaking ox turned into a human-shaped mountain-breaking ox. He was very familiar with the mountain-breaking ox clan. He was familiar with cultivation techniques, innate techniques, as well as the power of his blood essence. He was also familiar with the smell of the mountain-breaking ox clan. Suyu floated up from the surface of the water and floated in the air. At this moment, there was a vast expanse of blue waves in front of him. His surroundings were the same, and he couldn't even see an island. In the sky, there were stars, and it looked quite beautiful. The sea breeze blew around him, making him feel very comfortable. However, there was a hidden danger within the comfort. Suyu knew this very well. This place was still very dangerous. It was his first time in the sea, so he wasn't used to it. In the sea, it was slightly difficult to determine the direction. He had lost his sense of coordinates, and with his powerful discernment ability, he was able to determine the correct direction. He continued to fly forward. This could be considered the Eastern Sea region. If he continued flying for a few thousand miles, he would be able to reach the Sky Glow Island. It was easy to find. The Sky Glow Island was always red, and it could be considered one of the more famous islands in the Eastern Sea region. Buzz! The sound of air being torn could be heard as Suyu rapidly descended. In the blink of an eye, he was about to enter the sea. At that moment, a flying rainbow flew across the sky. A sun and moon mighty figure completely ignored him and directly crossed over. Suyu secretly cursed. The sun and moon were amazing. I've killed too many sun and moon. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1777. 1777 Chapter 399 Tianxia Island, Mingguang City 3. It actually flew over my head. Fine, I'll fly then. I won't argue with you. You can easily encounter the sun and moon in the sea of stars. Suyu felt a little strange. It shouldn't be that much. The sun and moon could be considered powerful existences. They were top-notch combat strength in any race. Not to mention the one guarding the passage, they had only entered the sea for a short period of time, yet they had already encountered the sun and moon. It was truly casual. And this was only the beginning. After a while, an eagle's cry sounded. A moment later, a pair of wings spread out, and a huge eagle nearly 100 meters long flew past. On the head of the huge eagle stood a human. It wasn't a human, so Suyu didn't dare to sense it. However, with just a look, he felt that it wasn't a human. He didn't know which race it was from. It was extremely powerful. That huge eagle was probably at the sun and moon realm. This human-shaped creature stood on the head of the huge eagle and looked down at the sea. It also saw Suyu, but it directly ignored him. Just by looking at its aura, it was actually a little more powerful than Ming-He. The huge eagle flew over Suyu's head. Its claws flashed with cold light, and it seemed like it was going to catch Suyu. The humanoid creature on top of his head shouted, "Hurry up, it's just a broken cow, what's there to eat?" The eagle's cry sounded again. This huge eagle listened to its master's advice and didn't descend again. It quickly flew away. Yes, it was originally going to catch Suyu to eat. After being berated by its master, it also gave up on this idea and quickly left. As for Suyu, he was sweating profusely. What the hell? This giant eagle seemed to be at the third stage of the sun-moon realm. As for that expert, Suyu was still far away from him. Since he did not sense it with his sensory jade, the other party was at least at the 7th or 8th stage of the sun-moon realm. Damn! Was the expert not valuable anymore? What was going on? Moreover, he felt that the direction he was heading in was not too different from his own. Suyu judged that he shouldn't be heading to the heavenly Afterglow Island, but that line might be heading to the 9-star island. Damn, this is so dangerous. Suyu's heart was filled with fear. Just now, the calamity word divine text was throbbing violently. The sun and moon were extremely heavy. This wasn't an ancient city. Without the interference of the sun and moon undead, if such an expert were to discover him and cause trouble for him, he wouldn't be able to escape. Did he rely on his luck to leave? If I had known earlier, I would have sneaked back to the human race. It's too dangerous. Furthermore, it doesn't look like he's human. Why are there so many experts from the other races? Suyu thought to himself. In the next moment, he instantly fled. Not long after, a burly man who looked like a huge mountain stepped onto the sea and saw Suyu fleeing. He smiled and said, "Seriously, the blood of the mountain-breaking Ox clan and the effects of the Foundation establishment body forging aren't bad. Forget it, I won't chase after him." That brawny man was very big, but at this moment, Suyu, who was fleeing, was surprised. He turned his head to look, wanting to curse someone. It wasn't some giant clan, it was the human clan. He wouldn't be mistaken about the aura of the human clan. Damn, I was almost captured by the human clan's experts. As for that giant, he didn't recognize him. It seemed that he was also at the sun-moon realm. He was very powerful and very ostentatious. That giant walked on the ocean, bringing with it huge waves. Soon, a huge dragon shuttled through the air. Its voice was loud as it shouted, Qin Hao, what are you doing? That giant was actually Qin Hao. Qin Fang's uncle, the son of the great Qin king, and the general of the vanguard camp. Previously, when Qin Fang was surrounded, the other party didn't come. But now, they had come to the Sea of Stars. Qin Hao didn't say anything either. Instead, he thrust his spear toward the sky. Boom! A huge dragon fled, and a clear bloody hole appeared in its abdomen. Qin Hao raised his head to look at the fleeing dragon. He scanned his surroundings coldly, and soon, a faint smile appeared on his face. I don't want to do anything. I heard that all the heroes of the world are heading to the 9-Star Island. I'll join in the fun so that you won't be too lonely. With that said, a spear entered the water and stirred the Sea of Stars. The sky turned upside down and the sea billowed into the sky. The great demons in the sea quickly fled. Qin Hao casually stabbed a huge golden fish to death. Flames instantly appeared on the spear and began to burn as it burned. He said with a smile, the heroes of 10,000 worlds are all here. Without us humans, wouldn't we be lonely? Everyone, I'll see you again on 9-Star Island. After saying that, he ate the big fish while stirring up the waves. His speed was extremely fast, bringing up monstrous waves as he walked toward 9-Star Island. Qin Hao. At this moment, Suyu was also surprised. This person was going to 9-Star Island. No, many people were going. What the hell, what the hell? I want to go here. Now that a bunch of suns and moons are running away, why should I go? Suyu was speechless. He observed from afar and carefully looked around. What was going on? Why were they all running towards 9-Star Island? Could it be that something good had appeared? Everyone was going to snatch it. Suyu fell into deep thought. What good thing? Should I go? Even an expert like Qin Hao had gone there. The expert riding on the giant eagle had probably gone there as well. Also, the giant dragon that was heavily injured by Qin Hao's spear had also run over there. Could it be that a world-shaking treasure has appeared? Suyu didn't know. At this moment, he could only take things one step at a time. First, he would go to Tianxia Island to see the situation and see what the wind was blowing. As for the rest, if it really wasn't possible, he would retreat. Of course, if it was a battle between the sun and the moon, he would see for himself if he could seek riches from danger. It was a very normal thought. A battle between experts. As a genius, shouldn't we go and make some money? If we were killed, then we wouldn't be geniuses. If we weren't killed, then there would naturally be benefits. If geniuses didn't go to the chaotic and dangerous places, then there would be no meaning. If we really couldn't do it and the battle here was too dangerous, then I would find an ancient city to have some fun. I would see if I could make a comeback and kill off a group of enemies. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1778. 1778 Chapter 399 Heavenly Dawn Island, Bright Light City 4. Dao Cheng wants to be killed, a blood feud. In addition, the Ice Snow God Clan, Thunder God Clan, Three-Eyed Demon Clan, Six-Winged God Clan, Dragon Silkworm Clan, Black Armor Clan. If you encounter them, you have to kill them all. Suyu did some calculations. Not to mention, he had quite a few enemies. This was not even counting those small clans that did not have deep memories. He had killed too many people in the ancient city. Even if Suyu did not seek revenge from the races of these people, Suyu would have to find them. Other people might not talk about it, but the six-winged race. Suyu hated this race the most. So troublesome. Suyu was thinking about who he should disguise as. It would be best if there were fewer people and those with strong combat strength. They would not be found out. The ancient race is the best. After thinking for a long time, Suyu suddenly had a thought. He had not seen many ancient races. Not to mention little hairy ball, he had also seen a type of iron-eating beast. This should be an ancient race as well. It was very powerful. The iron-eating beast from Daming Prefecture was at the peak of the mountain and sea realm, but the sun and moon couldn't touch it. This was very terrifying. Iron-eating beasts, perhaps I can impersonate them, but I wonder if there are many of them. Will they cause trouble? If there were too many of them, the deterrence wouldn't be strong, and if there were too few of them, it would be troublesome. If there was one more, that race would notice. That's not right. The humans have it. There are still 3 small iron eaters. How about? I pretend to be the son of that big iron eater. Suyu muttered in his heart. If the iron eater really found him, how about? I just say that I am the son of that big iron eater. A genius of the Iron Eater clan who was wandering outside. With these thoughts in mind, Suyu temporarily did not choose to pretend. He would think about it after he reached Tianxia Island. After walking on the surface of the sea for a long time, Suyu hadn't encountered any experts since Qin Hao. He didn't know if it was because he didn't want to go the same way as Qin Hao, but some experts had changed their path and avoided him. Perhaps Suyu had deviated from the path to 9-Star Island, so he avoided those experts. After that, his journey was smooth. He didn't encounter the sun or the moon, but he did encounter a few mountain and sea demons. Fortunately, not all of the mountain and sea demons here were crazy. Some of them ran into Suyu, and quickly avoided him. Some of them chased him for a while, but Suyu quickly fled. He didn't pursue them any further. Off in the distance, an island with a red glow that pierced through heaven and earth appeared. It was Tianxia Island. Tianxia Island was very, very big. It was called an island, but in fact, in the Sea of Stars, any continent could be considered an island. The main thing was that the Sea of Stars was too big. Skyglow Island was probably more than 3 million square kilometers in area. However, there were many islands of this size in the Sea of Stars. A circular island with a radius of about 2,000 kilometers. There was also a boundary entrance in Skyglow Island. However, the boundary was not strong and was relatively neutral. In fact, Suyu was familiar with this race. He had learned the Bright Bird race's essence cleansing technique from this race. It could purify Yuan Qi. The Bright Bird race could be considered a peaceful race. Of course, there was no way they could not be peaceful, and they were weak. However, because they were considered a race of doctors, the Bright Bird race had a pretty good life when the various races fought. Some of the Bright Bird race's experts would help heal some of the experts. Although some races had designs on them, it was not good to attack them directly on the surface. Over the years, they had managed to make a name for themselves on Tianxia Island. At this moment, there were quite a number of experts from small clans on the Sky Glow Island. They did not dare to directly head to the 9-Star Island. The central location of the Sky Glow Island was also where the Bright Light Realm Tunnel was located. Over the years, the Bright Light Bird clan had built a large city, which was the Bright Light City. This large city was open to the outside world. The Bright Light Bird clan had made use of this island to open this city. They had earned quite a lot and had nurtured some top-notch geniuses. However, there was still quite a big gap when compared to the geniuses from large clans. In the past few days, as the experts of the various clans gathered, the atmosphere in this city, which had been peaceful for many years, became a little tense. However, the Radiant Bird clan could be considered to be used to it. Every 10 years, there would be a similar incident. This was because if they went any further, they would pass through 9-Star Island. If they went any further, they would reach the radiation range of the Starry Palace. Suyu had arrived at Heavenly Dawn Island under such circumstances. The moment he stepped on the island, Suyu felt a bright energy. It was the energy from the realm of light, and it felt pretty good. Suyu made a slight judgment. It was possible that the realm of light was also infiltrating this island. If he could bring this island into the realm of light, then the alien races might have some suppressive power. Their sun and moon might be invincible here. It had to be said that even small races had their own plans and schemes. In any case, Suyu didn't feel any suppression. Perhaps it was because the penetration wasn't strong, or perhaps, it was because he was a human, so he couldn't feel the suppression. In the center of the island, there was a huge city. There were some towns and villages near the city. It was unknown whether it was built by outsiders or existed in the first place. When the heavenly battlefield opened 1,000 years ago, there were actually some native races living here. Otherwise, it was impossible for the Heaven Hunting Pavilion to survive. According to the records of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, it was possible that those fellows had been living here ever since the ancient times sealed off the heavenly battlefield. It was an existence as ancient as the ancient city. Suyu didn't care about these things. Walking on the ground, he felt a bit more at ease. Although he could transform into water, there were too many dangers in the water. He would often encounter some small world entrances. Suyu had sensed them several times along the way. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1779. 1779 Chapter 399 Tianxia Island, Bright Light City 5. Nervous, not at all at ease. The entrance to the small realm was usually guarded by the sun and moon. If one accidentally barged in, they might be killed by the sun and moon. The calamity-type divine text also played a huge role this time. If one encountered some danger, they would warn in advance. This innate divine text gave Suyu the feeling that it was much more important than the other divine texts. Suyu had just stepped onto the island and a bright bird flew over. One had to admit that this bright bird looked very good. It emitted a faint glow. Its body was smooth and its posture was elegant. It looked like it couldn't bear to be hurt. The key point was that the moment it opened its mouth, it was a female bird. Esteemed guest, may I ask if you are going to Bright Light City? Esteemed guest. Suyu, who was disguised as a member of the Pashan Ox clan, was exuding Ling Yun's aura. He could indeed be considered an esteemed guest. At the very least, he had an invincible presence and was much stronger than the Bright Light Bird clan. Suyu nodded slightly. Are there any of my clansmen on Tianxia Island? There aren't any aristocratic powerhouses here yet. The Bright Light Bird quickly said, over the past few days, there have been some powerhouses and geniuses from various clans on the island. If an esteemed guest is going to enter the city, please remain calm. There are arenas in the city that are specially used for sparring. The female bird said a few words. Very quickly, she said, if you are an honored guest, if you have any needs, you can look for the patrol team of the Bright Light clan to settle them. Bright Light City welcomes experts from the various races, but I hope that the experts from the various races can maintain some restraint in Bright Light City. The Bright Light clan is weak and small, so it's not easy to build a city. The little bird cried bitterly a few times, but very quickly, she inadvertently revealed that the Bright Light clan had 3 suns and moons guarding the city, and there was also a high sun and moon. In general, it was to warn them not to cause trouble or something like that. Although the small clan was weak, the rear was the main camp, and the clan's experts could come to help at any time. Suyu heard a few words, but he was too lazy to say anything more. Small clans were like this. He wished that everyone would never fight in our territory. The Radiant Light Bird clan was able to build a city in the Sea of Stars and occupy a large island. Their strength was not considered weak, but at least they were more impressive than the Giant Crab clan. They pitifully built a crystal palace. It was not even as big as a village. After the female bird finished speaking, she quickly flew away. It seemed that she had gone to welcome the next guest. Suyu did not care and quickly flew toward Bright Light City. It seemed that many people had come to Bright Light City recently to see if there were any acquaintances. Although most of the acquaintances had died, weren't there still a few who were alive? For example, Dao Cheng, Little Golden Dragon, and the others were all alive and well. After flying for a while, they arrived at the City of Light. The island emitted a red light, while the city emitted a white light. The entire city was covered in white light. The Bird of Light race had probably already spread their realm energy into the city. It seemed like they had some plans to build the city. When they landed, a few Bird of Light in human form were guarding the city gate. They were all quite strong, and one of them was a mountain and sea realm Bird of Light in white armor. When they saw Su Yu, they were not surprised. The island was surrounded by their people. They had already reported that the mountain-breaking bulls had arrived. Since it was not yet the sun and moon, they did not need to pay too much attention to it. To Su Yu's surprise, there was a golden notice hanging at the city gate. On it, there was actually a portrait of him. That's right, a portrait of the human race, his original appearance. Su Yu, human, Lingyun realm. If you discover Su Yu's whereabouts, inform the divine and demonic embassy of Mingguang City at any time. The information is accurate. Reward 10 strands of heaven and earth mystic light and 100 heaven origin fruits. F***CK. How generous. It was just a report of his whereabouts. He didn't mention anything about killing Su Yu or capturing him. Just telling the divine and demonic race that there were so many bounties, even Su Yu himself was moved. What the heck? He was really willing to do so. The most important thing was to put up a notice. What was the meaning of this? Did you guys know that I was coming here? Su Yu was not the only one reading the notice. There were quite a number of people reading it. Some swept a glance over it, while some smiled at their companions and said, "Now that you've discovered Su Yu, you'll be rich." Their companions warned, "Mind your own business. You're going to inform on a conflict between large clans. Heh, do you really think that the humans don't care? Aren't you afraid that you'll lose your life in the next moment?" This wasn't something that could be casually told on. Once the humans found out, the humans wouldn't say anything, but to kill a snitch like you, did they need a reason? Did they really think that the gods and demons would protect you? Besides Su Yu, a few living beings were discussing. They were just watching the show. If they really saw Su Yu, they might not even dare to tell on him. And at the city gate, Su Yu wasn't the only human. At this moment, there were actually humans. When someone saw this notice, he snorted coldly and shot a glance at the mountain and sea realm bright bird. He laughed coldly and said, "You dare to say that there aren't any experts from the human race stationed here? The bright bird race sure is bold. Be careful of which invincible human race passes by and cleaves your city." The mountain and sea realm expert frowned slightly and said in a low voice, "The non-bright bird race hangs here. Please understand the difficulties of our race. This notice is jointly hung by the god and devil race. This item can be found on all the islands in the Sea of Stars." The human tribe ignored him and sneered before entering the city. As for the luminous bird tribe, the mountain and sea tribe was a bit helpless and didn't say anything. Being stuck in the middle of the large tribes, they were also in a difficult position. If the god and demon tribes wanted to hang the notice, would they dare not to hang it? But if they hung it, the human tribe would be dissatisfied. What could they say? As for Su Yu, he didn't care too much about it. He just looked around and directly entered the city. No one stopped him or charged him anything. It was just a notice. What could they do to him? What was the use of putting up a human's head? Those who could really discover his true appearance did not need to tell anyone. They could easily catch him. However, there were some things that could be seen. The human race was not considered powerful in the Sea of Stars. At the very least, they were not as powerful as the gods and devils. Otherwise, this notice would have been hacked. It would not continue to be hung here. Clearly, the human race here was not as powerful as the gods and demons. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1780. 1780 Chapter 400 My original line of work isn't killing people. 1. Bright Light City was very big. The moment they entered the city, a clamor could be heard. An invincible weapon from the ancient times, dug out from the depths of the Sea of Stars. It's priceless. 50,000 drops of vitality liquid for sale. Starry Manor map. All 9 levels of the map are available. Come quickly. Ancient Emperor's cultivation technique fragment. Do you want it? The entrance, both sides of the street were filled with people. No, they were all kinds of chaotic races and creatures. These guys chose to set up a stall at the city gate. It was obvious that they had premeditated. The people who came and went had to pass through the city gate, and there might be some noobs, so they might be able to trick a few of them. Otherwise, when the people entered the city and became familiar with each other, it would be difficult to trick them. Suyu glanced at a random place. It was the one who had just sold the invincible ancient weapons. Suyu glanced at it. It was an ape-type demonic beast. Humans usually called these non-human-shaped creatures demons. That ape was holding a fork in its hand. It looked like a harpoon. It looked simple. Suyu glanced over and a divine light appeared in his eyes. At this moment, that fork suddenly shot out a black light. Rumble. Suyu's sea of consciousness trembled. The ape suddenly looked at Suyu and laughed coldly. Mountain-shattering ox clan. Why, you still don't believe me? I said that it was a weapon used by an ancient invincible expert, so naturally, I wouldn't fake it. Did you see that? A treasure has a spirit and automatically counterattacks. This is a sign that only heavenly weapons have. Suyu was somewhat surprised and somewhat puzzled. Indeed, only heavenly weapons had a certain level of spirit and possessed the ability to counterattack. For example, the 100 Dao Pavilion. Was this thing really an invincible ancient heavenly soldier? Stop fooling around. 50,000 yuan chi liquid drops were not cheap. It was equivalent to more than 100,000 human merit points. It was even more expensive than ordinary earthly soldiers, but heavenly soldiers were still ancient heavenly soldiers. Why was the price so cheap? But what was the situation with this counterattack? He just wanted to investigate it himself. He secretly observed some of the stall owners around him. His father had said that it was fine if you did not understand. As long as the people around you understood, it was fine. Just like how his father did not know how to buy vegetables, when he first came back to bring Suyu, the vegetables he bought were the worst. Later on, his father understood. It was simple. It was fine to buy together with a group of middle-class aunties who seemed to come from decent families, but could only be considered middle-class and looked very picky. The rich might not necessarily understand how to buy vegetables. The poor would buy the poor. The middle class, coupled with being picky and being older, would most likely buy the right things. At this moment, Suyu himself did not understand. But he could learn from others. He observed some of the stall owners around him. Some curled their lips, some looked down on them, and some ignored them. As for some of the customers, some were surprised, and some had a playful look on their faces. With this look, Suyu understood. There was a problem. But what was the problem? Suyu was certain about this weapon. The ape did not do anything to it. He was also a weapon forging master. Even if it was an ancient weapon, he could at least tell if it was tampered with. As soon as he entered the city, Suyu's interest was piqued. He walked straight towards the ape. The ape's strength was not weak, it was at the peak of Lingyun. Suyu scanned the area and was slightly shocked. He had not noticed it before, but now he saw a small tuft of golden hair on the ape's head. This was the rare heavenly spirit monkey among the apes. This tribe was also very powerful. At least they were stronger than the mountain-breaking ox clan. There were many branches of the ape clan, and they were considered a large clan. The Sky Spirit Monkey clan seemed to have 2 or 3 invincible realm existences. In the entire ape clan, there were quite a number of invincible realm existences, and the 10,000 clans were ranked 12th. They were not in the top 10, but the gap was not big. When the ape saw Suyu sweep over its head, its face revealed a hint of arrogance. "What are you looking at? You want to steal me? I can beat you up." Suyu was speechless. "Did I say I wanted to snatch you? Can I take a look at this weapon?" Suyu pointed at the fork and the monkey sneered. "Can you afford it? Take a look. Do you have to buy it? If you can't afford it, then get lost." This monkey was very arrogant. Suyu frowned. "If it's really something good, I will naturally contact the experts in the clan. If it's not fake, then it's a lie. Don't tell me I have to alarm the elders in the clan over a piece of trash. Lie to you?" The monkey's eyes were unhappy. "Would my heavenly spirit ape clan lie to you?" Suyu was silent. He said again, "I'm looking at something. Can I look at it? If you can't, then forget it. Look, I'll show it to you." After saying that, he handed the fork to Suyu. Suyu stretched out his hand to receive it. "Halfway through," he said, "put it down first. I'll take it myself." The ape's face revealed a look of speechlessness as it placed the fork on the ground. There was a stall on the ground made of beast hides from an unknown race. There were also some miscellaneous items on it that looked rather ancient. Only then did Suyu slowly pick it up and touch it with his hand. He frowned slightly when he touched it. The material was not good. He had high standards. This thing was actually not bad. It was close to the sturdiness of an earth soldier, but he could forge it himself, so he naturally did not fancy it. With a touch, it was not as powerful as the boots he forged himself. The first feeling was not too good. "Can I infuse Yuan Qi?" "Yes." Suyu infused Yuan Qi, and the fork shined. The next moment, another black light attacked Suyu's Sea of Will. Suyu held the fork as his heart stirred. He saw the fork shimmering with some light. Suyu quickly probed. Soon, he found some clues. Not long after, Suyu made a judgment in his heart. "It's an ancient weapon. What invincible ancient weapon is nonsense? According to the level, it might be an ancient mystic pinnacle weapon. This black light is a branded formation." You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1781. 1781 Chapter 400, My Old Profession Isn't Killing People. Chiu subscribe, 2. Suyu's mind was filled with thoughts. Interesting. The ancient forging technique was different from the current one. The difference wasn't small. There was a formation attached to this weapon. Ancient formation. This thing wasn't a powerful weapon at all, nor was it a treasure with a spirit. Instead, it was a formation that repelled it. The original owner had died, but the formation was still operating, continuing to repel the aura of outsiders. Formation. Add a formation to the weapon. Many thoughts flashed through Suyu's mind. It wasn't that no one had mentioned and researched this forging technique, but research had shown that the effects of adding a formation weren't too good. More often than not, it would repel the weapon. In fact, there were divine formation masters in the human race as well. In the past, there were weapon forging masters who invited divine formation masters to work together to forge the weapon, but the results were mostly unsatisfactory. This weapon had a lot of reference value. It was rare for an ancient formation to still be able to operate even now. It was not a big deal to say that the material of the weapon was good and it had been preserved well. After so many years, it could still be used. However, for the formation to still be able to operate, it meant that the formation had not collapsed and there might be a source of power. Then, what was the source of power? There should be something in the weapon as a source of power. Suyu carefully examined it for a while. The ape said impatiently, "Are you done?" Suyu raised his head and looked at him. He thought for a moment and said, "An ancient mystic weapon." If the invincible ancient used this weapon, he would have been hacked to death long ago. "Are you sure that the invincible ancient used this?" The ape said somewhat angrily, "Are you buying or not? How do you know that it's a mystic weapon? This ancient weapon is different from the current one, and you can tell. Are you an earth or heaven weapons division?" Suyu frowned. "Are you selling sincerely? If I'm interested, then forget it." At this moment, he was somewhat interested in this weapon. The key points were, first, the forging method. Second, the operating principle of the array. Third, the source of power. To be able to maintain the operation for so many years, it seemed like an array that could identify its owner's aura was operating. Then, the source of power of this array was most likely the original owner's blood essence. Yes, this was Suyu's idea. Or perhaps it was the original owner's divine text. Human casting technique. Just like Zhao Li, the original owner might have fused one of his divine text into the weapon, which was why the array formation that could identify its owner's aura was still operating. Ancient divine text or ancient blood essence. It was a very interesting thing. 50,000 drops of yuan qi liquid, buy it or not. The ape said unhappily, even if it's not a heavenly weapon, it's still an earth weapon. If you say it's a profound weapon, it's because its level has dropped over the years. It did not absorb enough yuan qi and did not nurture it. The moment these words were said, Suyu's heart stirred slightly. That's right, he had almost forgotten. After all, countless years had passed. It was still at the peak level of a profound weapon. It might have really been an earth weapon back then, and it might not be weak at all. If it was nurtured a little, it might really be able to recover to the level of an earth weapon. Of course, because this weapon had a formation that repelled the original owner, ordinary people wouldn't be able to nurture it. On the side of the 10,000 clans, hadn't any weapon forging masters seen it before? If weapon forging masters saw it, they should be more or less interested. Of course, not mentioning the low-level ones, but the high-level ones, such as Earth-rank weapon forging masters, who saw it, should be interested. Suyu glanced at Monkey, he said, the price of an Earth-rank weapon is not too expensive. For a low-level Earth-rank weapon, 10,000 drops of origin chi liquid is definitely enough. Medium level, 20,000 drops, high level, 30,000 to 50,000, you're asking for 50,000. Do you think that this thing is more valuable than a powerful Earth-rank weapon? Monkey frowned and looked at him. You're interested. How much do you want? Suyu hesitated for a moment. With his status as a Lingyun realm warrior, it was not appropriate for him to take out too many resources. After pondering for a moment, Suyu said, 10 drops of essence blood of the first level of the mountain and sea realm. Get lost. The ape was furious. The essence blood of the first level of the mountain and sea realm was not worth much unless it was from a god, devil, or a very strong race. 1,000 merit points was the limit. This was still not a lot of people buying it. For a mountain and sea realm, there was a limited demand for the blood essence of a weak race. For a god or demon, it was fine. One without a prefix meant that it was not in the top 100. Otherwise, it would be like killing Ox Mountain and sea blood essence. 10 drops, that would be 10,000 merit points for the human race, and around 3,000 drops of yuan qi liquid. This monkey was naturally unwilling. As for Suyu, he stood up, he shook his head and said, at this price, I can even buy a top-grade mystic weapon. I took a look at this item and there's a high probability that it won't be useful. However, it's an ancient weapon after all. There might be some forging techniques that weapon forgers can learn from. It might be of some use. These words were said in the monkey's mind. He said somewhat gloomily, "It's really good stuff. I dug it out from a small space. That space is definitely a space where mighty figures pass away in meditation. At the very least, it's at the sun-moon realm. Those fellows don't know what's good. I previously asked a weapon forger and he said that it's worth at least 50,000 drops of yuan qi liquid." Su Yu laughed and said, "Then why didn't he buy it?" Ape said angrily, "He said that he went to gather money to buy it and didn't take advantage of me. In the end, he never returned. He must have encountered a crisis and died. Otherwise, he would definitely have sold it." Su Yu judged his statement and felt that it was half true and half false. There might be such a person, but Su Yu felt that it was not worth it to save 50,000 yuan qi drops. Moreover, even if there was, he would not take the initiative to offer a high price. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1782. 1782 Chapter 400 My old profession is not killing people. Subscribe. 3. Su Yu quickly said, "Even if there is such a person, there is a high probability that he is lying to you on purpose so that you will not be able to sell it at a high price. Otherwise, I don't think this is the first time you have sold this item. You would not have kept it until now." The ape was silent. After a moment of silence, it said, "The price you have offered is too low. It is still okay to buy the black weapons now. This is an ancient black weapon, it might be an earth weapon or a heaven weapon. First layer of the mountain and sea realm, and it's from a weak race. I can kill it myself." It wasn't really boasting. The other party had a high chance of killing it. However, killing a mountain and sea realm beyond one's level was more or less dangerous. Su Yu could still kill it himself. Could it be that he had to kill mountains and seas every day? That's all. It's fine if you don't want to sell it. I'll look at other things. At this moment, Su Yu's interest was piqued by these roadside stalls. He had actually seen an ancient weapon. Of course, there were some boasting, but the items were real. Perhaps he could even see some other good things. As for his eyesight, it was not bad. At the very least, he would not be deceived. He could still tell the quality of some cultivation techniques and weapons. When the ape saw him leave, it was helpless. 10 drops of mountain and sea essence blood, to buy it? The price had decreased more than tenfold. What he said was true. A weapon forging master said that he was willing to pay 50,000 drops of yuan qi liquid to buy it, but he did not have that much money. Then, he was gone. Unless that bastard was lying to him. Of course, he had already guessed that it was a scam. That old scammer might have been lying to him. He had seen other weapon forging divisions before. There were also people who had offered prices that were not as high as Su Yu's. There were only about 30 earth weapon divisions in the human race. In the myriad worlds, there were only a few races that had more earth weapon divisions than the human race. The entire 10,000 strong earth division might not be invincible. Meeting an earth division was often more difficult than meeting an invincible one, because an invincible division would come out. Earth divisions were usually treasures and would not come out. The blacksmiths he met weren't usually very high-ranking. The ape cursed in his heart, whether to sell or not. It's a bit of a catch. He can't use this damn weapon, and it doesn't suit him. Who uses a fork? Sigh. The ape cursed in his heart again. He cursed that old bastard and lied to him. Otherwise, he would have sold it a long time ago, and he wouldn't have waited here until now. At the same time. In the mystic suit sector, near the passage of the sector. An old man's nose twitched as he looked in the direction of the sea of stars. He was full of resentment. The person who had been scolding him was probably related to him. After thinking for a while, he seemed to have thought of something. That monkey. The old man thought for a moment. Was it that monkey? Yes, the monkey's fork was not bad, but there was something wrong with the monkey. It insisted on the vital essence liquid. Who the hell had so much vital essence liquid on him? Was he not going to borrow some from Qin Guang before he went to buy it? Who the hell would have known that something like Suyu had happened on the way here? He had no choice but to come to the mystic suit world to wait for him again. Is that monkey for sale? The old man thought to himself, it can't be that bad, right? There shouldn't be anyone buying it, right? Before I left, I said that I wouldn't sell it unless I had 50,000 drops of vital essence. That fork is pretty good. There should be an ancient divine language among it. It might be the sun and moon divine language. It's been running for a long time. 50,000 drops of vital essence is quite a good deal. The main point is that I don't have any Yuan Qi liquid either. Which eternal world still uses that thing? The old man muttered in his heart, stupid monkey, I want to exchange Earth soldiers with you. You actually don't know what's good for you and insist on saying that it's fake. F***CKU. If I didn't have some relationship with that old ghost of your heavenly spirit ape race, I would have slapped you to death long ago. Forget it. If you want to sell it, then sell it. Ordinary Earth soldiers are also difficult to dismantle. The old man stopped thinking about it and went to take a look again when he had the chance. In the next moment, a strong willpower covered the area in front of him. An unguarded tunnel was shaking violently. A moment later, a cold voice came from the tunnel, Tianzhu, what do you want to do? The old man said faintly, I don't want to do anything. Take off your skin. I'll try to forge a divine weapon. I've always thought that your skin is the best material to forge a divine weapon. Until now, I've never forged a divine weapon. It's just that I don't have enough materials. Mystic armor, think about it. Tianzhu, do you really think that you can be unscrupulous? I don't think so. The old man smiled and said, there are so many experts of the 10,000 races. How can I be unscrupulous? The incipient demon race, the primitive god race, and the ancient immortal race are much more powerful than me. How can I be unscrupulous? However, black armor, I still have a way to deal with you. If you don't believe me, come and try. Come out, I'll forge you into a divine weapon today. In the passage, the Black Armor King was silent for a while, and then he said coldly, so you killed the genius of my race, killed the sun and moon of my race, and so did Jinping. The one who has been at a disadvantage has always been a member of my race. Do you have to do this? The Tianzhu king said calmly, you asked for it. It's not good to mess with anyone. You messed with the human race. Do you really think that the immortal, devil, and god races will stand up for you? Mystic armor, the one who stands up will rot first. If you want to die, I will help you. The Mystic Armor King sighed. Don't force me. If I really join the immortal race, don't regret it. Regret it? The old man smiled. No. If you join the immortal race, I will kill my way into your mystic armor world and forge all the members of your race into weapons. It just so happens that we humans lack some powerful weapons and natural armor. If you don't join the Celestials, I will consider killing only you. In the passage, the Black Armor King sighed again and ignored him. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1783. 1783 Chapter 400 My original line of work isn't killing people for. I can't say. This time, not only did I suffer heavy losses, I was also blocked by this fellow. In a short period of time, the Black Armor clan can forget about leaving the realm. Hong Lai and the others have also lost their minds. What's the point of provoking the humans? Tianzhu has always wanted to cast him, don't you know that? Now, he had given him an opportunity and an excuse. Now, this guy was blocking his way every day. If he was not a little afraid, he would have killed his way in and cast him. In this world, he was not afraid of Tianzhu Wang. However, once he left the mystic armor world, he would not be able to defeat this guy without the boost from the realm energy. Su Yu did not know about the situation in the mystic armor world. He was about to go to the next stall when the ape behind him gritted his teeth and said angrily, "Come, I'll sell it to you. I don't want it anymore." Just as Su Yu said that, the ape suddenly bared its teeth and looked at him fiercely. "Are you going to buy it or not? You bargained with me, but you didn't buy it. Do you want to die? Mountain ox, do you think I can't do anything to you?" The ape's eyes were fierce. "How dare you play me?" Su Yu laughed dryly. "I'll buy it, I'll buy it. I just feel that, actually, 10 drops of mountain and sea essence blood, it's a bit of a loss." It was a business deal, so he had to be kept in suspense. If he agreed to buy it, this fellow might have another trick up his sleeve. Su Yu turned around and took out 10 drops of mountain and sea first level essence blood. Iron-winged bird clan. Trash clan. The monkey also felt a little disgusted and cursed in his heart. Damn it, what trash. He still had the confidence to kill the iron-winged bird clan of mountain and sea first level. Forget it, forget it. Even if he smashed it in his hand, it wouldn't be useful. After all, it was mountain and sea blood essence, so it was still worth something. This thing really couldn't be used. He had already wasted a few days, so there was no need to continue wasting time over this thing. After collecting the blood essence, he threw the item to Su Yu and said in a bad mood, "You got off easy. If that old swindler hadn't died, I would have sold it long ago." Damn it, that old swindler was definitely dead. He had deliberately set a high price for him. He had even swindled him and exchanged it for an earth soldier. That thing was a stick. He held it lightly in his hand and asked that guy to show him the inscription. That old swindler insisted that the inscription on the weapon he forged was introverted, and the inscription would naturally appear after a drop of blood. F***CKU. Swindler. He even lied to me about a drop of blood. Perhaps he was trying to trick me with some curse technique. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't see through that fellow's strength, that old fellow would probably be afraid of me, who was at the peak of Lingyun, and might have started fighting. Su Yu, on the other hand, didn't care about all this and was secretly delighted. He had found a good item the moment he came. How rare. It was just 10 drops of trash mountain and sea essence blood. This ancient weapon was worth this money just to learn the forging method. If he were to follow his guesses and use the essence blood of ancient experts or divine runes as the energy source for the formation, he would have made a huge profit. 50,000 drops of yuan qi liquid was really worth it. At this moment, as a weapon forging master, this was the first time Su Yu had found such a treasure. He felt that a weapon forging master was not bad. At the very least, weapons were a type that had a large number of transactions. As for the fact that he was an Earth division, Su Yu did not care about that. It was relatively easy for him to enter the Earth rank. He would subconsciously forget that there were actually very few Earth divisions. Strictly speaking, his identity as an Earth division was really more valuable than the average sun and moon. The moment he entered the city, Su Yu found a loophole. He was in a good mood and continued to look at the other stalls. When he saw the cultivation technique of the guy who sold the so-called ancient emperor cultivation technique, Su Yu wanted to curse his mother. F***CKU. Do you think I'm an idiot? Su Yu had mastered too many cultivation techniques. He could recognize some things just by looking at the beginning. This should be the cultivation technique of the Earth Ginseng clan. It was a very weak clan, but there was something special about it. When cultivating the cultivation technique of this clan, there would be some reflections of the multicolored light. Actually, this thing was just a cultivation technique that could attract a spouse. It was rather deceptive. How could it attract a few Mother Earth ginseng for you to play with? You even dared to use this thing to deceive others. Su Yu thought for a moment. F***ck, maybe I can even create a more genuine cultivation technique than him to deceive others. Not to mention, his ability to forge was definitely stronger than this fellow. Maybe I can really try. Not just cultivation techniques, for example, weapons. When he fakes, it is actually easier than others. Although Su Yu has not forged Earth soldiers before, he felt that he has the ability to forge them. As for inscriptions, this thing is also easy to forge. It is fine as long as it is fake and not real. The inscriptions are real, but it is very illusory. One collision might shatter it. Or they might as well use the grafting method. Grafting two mystic weapons for sale. Su Yu rubbed his chin and fell into deep thought. Perhaps, he really could try. Swindle a large number of heavenly and earthly treasures and then run away. Perhaps it's really possible, taking advantage of the fact that the Xingyu mansion is about to open and there are many people here, everyone might really have gotten some good things from the outside, fishing in troubled waters might really be able to swindle a large sum of money. Swindling. Su Yu was a professional. The capital that he built up was swindled. He swindled Zhou Pingsheng and the others. The first time he swindled, Su Yu had already earned tens of thousands of merit points. With so many merit points, some people might not be able to earn them in their lifetime. Now, there were many experts from the 10,000 clans, and they were all rich people. Perhaps, he could go back to his old profession. Su Yu did not lack other things now, but he had his eyes on some things, such as the heaven and earth mystic light. This item was sold by the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, but it was too expensive. Su Yu could not even afford it. He had the sun and moon essence blood, and a part of it was hidden in the Heaven Break Valley. And in his storage ring, there was actually a heavenly celestial race corpse at the 8th level of the sun and moon. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1784. 1784 Chapter 400 My original line of work is not to kill people 5. But these things were not easy to sell, and Su Yu could not bear to sell them. He still needed the sun and moon blood essence. How about I start with scamming? Su Yu touched his chin. He was very good at scamming. The key was, how to sell it, to whom? How to gain the trust of others. After deceiving someone, how could he escape? I can forge cultivation techniques or weapons, but trash cultivation techniques and trash weapons aren't worth much. If I were to forge a heaven-tier cultivation technique or heaven-tier cultivation technique, it would be best if it was an ancient cultivation technique, or perhaps a breathing technique. It would definitely be worth a lot. To whom? Of course, he would sell it to a genius. Geniuses were rich. As for experts, forget it. If they were too strong, Su Yu was afraid that others would see through him. If it was a weapon, without an earth armament master, it would be difficult to see through him. What he was afraid of was that if the forged weapon was too strong, it would arouse the suspicion of the earth armament master. That's not right. Su Yu looked at the fork in his hand. He actually wanted to take it apart to have a look, but if he were to take it apart, he couldn't bear to part with it, so it would be a waste. If he were to take it apart, what if he were to use this material to forge a new ancient weapon? How about using a real ancient weapon to forge a new ancient weapon? Su Yu muttered in his heart. Perhaps it was possible. Even an earth armament master might not be able to see through it. Ancient weapon, ancient cultivation technique, ancient divine script, ancient corpse, it would be best if I were to combine them together. If so, I might be able to obtain even greater benefits. Su Yu licked his lips. If he added an inner ring ancient city token. Damn! It was flawless. An ancient expert from the ancient era had died somewhere with an ancient city token in his hand, but his weapons, cultivation methods, ancient city token, and even divine texts were all left behind. How much was this worth? If it was a Sun-Moon Realm ancient expert at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon Realm, wouldn't it be a small matter to sell him a few million human merit points? No, the human merit points were looking down on the experts of the 10,000 races. I have to sell the Heaven and Earth Mystic Light. 100 strands of starting point. Su Yu secretly bared his teeth. If his strength wasn't enough, then he would be able to deceive them. Those who deceived the 10,000 races wouldn't feel the slightest sense of guilt. It would be best for them to come and buy it after achieving the Tao. Acting isn't enough. It's best to bring a few people out to see and find a collapsed ancient space. There was internal strife and I killed my opponent, but I left one alive. I'll let that guy go and sell it myself. That guy will come back to life, and then this will be real. Su Yu had many thoughts in his mind. Acting, of course, had to be done. If he could really trick 100 rays of Heaven and Earth Mystic Light, it wouldn't be a problem for him to cast 15 rays of Heaven and Earth Mystic Light on his body, right? On average, it would be more than 6 rays of Heaven and Earth Mystic Light. At that time, his body would be at least 40 rays of Heaven and Earth Mystic Light. If he could really reach 42 rays of Heaven and Earth Mystic Light, then Su Yu's physical strength would quickly calculate. F***CK, it would definitely be close to 100,000 aperture strength. Su Yu's heart slightly moved. How many sun and moon do I have to kill to get so many Heaven and Earth Mystic rays? If I were to buy them from the Heaven Hunter Pavilion, then I would have to kill 10 first-level sun and moon. 100 drops of sun and moon essence blood, to exchange for 100 wisps. Rather than killing 10 sun and moon essence blood, I might as well go cheat. If I'm not strong enough, then I can cheat. If I succeed, then I'll be rich. Su Yu was secretly calculating. At the same time, he could also attract some enemies over. At the same time, he could also take a look at the situation here and why there were so many experts gathered here. Perhaps, it has something to do with me. At this point, he could even see his own portrait at the door. How could Su Yu not have some thoughts? Perhaps it was because of him that attracted so many experts. There were probably quite a few people who wanted to kill him. How about going to 9-Star Island? Su Yu's eyes flickered. There's an ancient city on 9-Star Island. It's holding an auction there, and at the same time, killing a few people. This time, he had quite a few enemies. They weren't enemies, and many of them were here to kill him. Forget it. The words of the ancient city are too obvious. Don't suspect me. But the auction in the ancient city will be very safe. All sorts of thoughts appeared in Su Yu's mind. Because he had bought an ancient weapon, when he saw that someone was selling fake ancient emperor cultivation techniques, Su Yu immediately thought of his old profession. Cheat. Su Yu was confident that others wouldn't be able to see through the fake cultivation techniques. In any case, it was impossible to sell all of the cultivation techniques for others to see, so there wouldn't be any value in selling them. If it was a weapon, the old bottle would contain new wine. If he used the shell of an ancient weapon and slightly modified it, how many people would be able to see through it? It would be best if he were to move the ancient array formation in the fork into it and make it so that it would automatically rebound. Su Yu had almost been tricked previously. I can consider this plan. He had come here to become stronger. He did not have to kill anyone. If he could become stronger, his methods would not matter. Perhaps the other fellows would think that he was here to kill someone. No, I won't kill anyone. I'm lying. Did you think that I, Su Yu, was an idiot? Who knew how many people were staring at him right now? I'll lie for a large sum of money, and then I'll leave this place and reach the 40th level. At that time, I'll be able to wrestle with someone from the 7th level of the mountain and sea realm. No, at that time, my physical body will be incomparably powerful, comparable to someone from the 7th level of the mountain and sea realm. I should be able to devour the blood essence of someone from the 9th level of the mountain and sea realm, or even the blood essence of someone from the 1st level of the sun and moon realm. I might even be able to touch some trash from the sun and moon realm. One thought after another appeared. The outline of the plan began to appear in his mind. Deception. There must be quite a few people with sharp eyes. I can't show them all my cultivation techniques. As for weapons, if they come with high or even peak Earth rank weapons, it'll be a bit troublesome. There's also the ancient city token. Is it the same as the ancient city token? It'd better be in line with the style of that era. Perhaps, we still need some ancient clothes. It's not difficult. I can see them on the street. It's best if there's a small space that really collapsed during the ancient era. Yes, didn't this monkey say that he dug out the weapons in the collapsed small space? Su Yu looked around. He needed to find a place to rest and calculate to perfect his plan. 100 rays of heaven and earth mystic light was not something an ordinary person could produce. Don't attract invincible here. This would require a big faction to buy it. A very, very big faction, such as the Celestial Demon Celestial Dragon. Moreover, this 9th level of the Sun-Moon should be very crucial. For example, the cultivation technique that everyone can use, or something similar to the origin aperture reversal, or the breathing technique. Su Yu's heart moved slightly. He had the capital to create a fake. Otherwise, it was not like everyone did not have ordinary ancient cultivation techniques. Origin aperture reversal, breathing technique. Su Yu's eyes flickered. This was more in line with his goal. Then let me do it once, the biggest scam in the world. Su Yu muttered in his heart. If this succeeded, the race that he had deceived would chase after him to death, right? Who cares? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1785. 1785. When the plan for Chapter 401 was carried out, someone from the Zhu family came. In Bright Light City, Su Yu continued to wander around. At this moment, he had the intention of deceiving people, so he paid special attention to those ancient items. This was because in the Sea of Stars, it was common for some ancient small spaces or secret realms to collapse, so he had actually obtained quite a number of ancient items. Most people, even if they found these small spaces, under normal circumstances, would only take away some useful things. As for the other things, they would rarely take them with them. There were many people setting up stalls in the city. Ape wasn't the only one selling ancient weapons. However, most of them were fake, the kind that could only be seen at a glance. In any case, Su Yu felt that his level of forgery was definitely much higher than theirs. Especially weapons. As an Earth Division soldier, Su Yu really didn't think much of them. Did they think he was a fool? He dared to sell everything as ancient divine weapons. Su Yu bought some items that weren't expensive. For example, a cape. It wasn't expensive. It was a product of the ancient era, but its level wasn't high. For example, a few cultivation techniques. They were also real ancient cultivation techniques. Su Yu took a look. Some were written in the languages of various races, and there were also a few that were written in a special language. It was the same as places like Heaven Destruction City. You would know what it meant when you saw the name of the city, however, you actually did not know these words. This can be learned. Su Yu was deep in thought. Cultivation techniques recorded in a race's language generally had limitations, limiting the use of a particular race. However, those recorded in this special language were generally used more widely. Of course, the few books he bought were all useless. They were just some special little tricks. In modern times, they had already been eliminated. Not everything was as strong as it was in ancient times. After buying some things, Suyu looked for the patrolling Mingguang bird team to find out where was suitable for accommodation. Very quickly, he walked towards the accommodation. Mingguang Tower. It was a relatively well-known resting place in the city. The environment was beautiful and it was constructed from individual small buildings. The only thing was that the accommodation fee was not cheap. After a day, charging 50 drops of yuan qi liquid was not something that an ordinary person could afford. Those who lived here were all powerful experts from various races. Suyu rented for 10 days and paid a total of 500 drops of yuan qi liquid. He could be considered rich. Suyu still had quite a lot of yuan qi liquid. After killing so many people, he did not have to worry about the involvement of yuan qi liquid. Yuan qi was the same in all the worlds. Under the lead of a bright bird in human form, Suyu walked into the small building. He entered the building. Suyu closed the door and sat on a chair, thinking about his plan. If the plan succeeds, I'll have to think of a way out. At that time, some Sun-Moon realm experts would surely appear. This was inevitable. As for Invincible, it would be best to trade in the 9-star island region. Invincible wouldn't go there. If he did, the 9 realms would have to fear Invincible and break the balance, causing a backlash from the 9 realms. Moreover, I might have to display my cultivation technique on the spot. At that time, I might be noticed by many people. Why don't I find an organization to act as an auction agent? For example, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion seems to have a very good discernment ability. Suyu fell into deep thought. Perhaps, he could cooperate with the Myriad Treasures building. This organization was not weak either. The crux of the matter was that this organization was established by large clans like the gods and demons, and had nothing to do with the human race. In the end, he was scammed. Other people could not find Suyu, so they naturally had to find trouble with the Myriad Treasures building. To prevent the underhanded from taking advantage of the underhanded. Also, I have to think of a way out. Then, I can carry out the plan. Suyu thought for a while. Before carrying out the plan, he first studied the ancient weapon he had obtained. Soon, the fork appeared in his hand. Suyu observed it for a moment and frowned slightly. It wasn't easy to dismantle. It's one body. The array formation is embedded in it. If it's forcefully destroyed, this ancient weapon might be destroyed. Thinking of this, Suyu quickly inspected the small building. The Calamity Divine text also swept around, but no one was watching. Soon, he walked into the small building's cultivation room and prepared to dismantle it. If it didn't work, he would forcefully dismantle it. Destroying it was actually not a big deal. In the cultivation room, Suyu tried his best to be careful. His weapon forging technique could be considered to be quite brilliant. He had obtained the 2 powerful weapon forging sects of the human race, the Heaven Forging sect, and the Zhao family's weapon forging technique. If Zhao Li's father hadn't fallen, he would probably have become a heaven weapon master long ago. Later on, Zhao Li and Zhao Tianbing had even made improvements to the original Zhao clan's weapon forging techniques. This also allowed Zhao Tianbing to enter the ranks of peak Earth rank weapon forging masters very early on. As for Suyu, after receiving the inheritance of these 2 systems, his weapon forging strength was still quite good. The fire character Divine Script appeared. Suyu hesitated for a moment before starting to burn. After a while, the weapon slightly melted. Suyu took out the God-expanding hammer and struck it for a while. He was busy. For the entire night, Suyu had been working on this. Gradually, the fork was split into many parts. Very quickly, it split into 2 main bodies. One was the outer shell, the other was the inner array formation. The only thing special about this weapon was the inner formation. Suyu now understood the meaning of this formation. It was used by the original owner to recognize its owner and use it for his own use. It was somewhat different from modern weapons. The existence of this formation meant that this weapon could only be used by the original owner. If others took it, they wouldn't be able to use it, or they would only be able to destroy it. The outer shell could still be used as a weapon. Su Yu took out the core of the formation and started to fiddle with the outer shell. Not long after, a new fork was successfully assembled by him. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1786. 1786. When the plan for Chapter 401 was carried out, someone from the Zhu family came too. Su Yu injected his yuan qi. This time, there was no array formation and no obstruction. Soon, 97 golden patterns appeared on the weapon. However, more than 20 of them were cracking. Su Yu was surprised. 97 golden patterns. It was indeed a little surprising. This meant that this fork was an Earth-grade high-grade weapon in the past. This fork is amazing. Su Yu was extremely surprised. 73 Earth-grade weapons, 82 Earth-grade weapons, 91 Earth-grade weapons, and 100 Earth-grade weapons were the pinnacle of Earth-grade weapons. This fork was actually close to the pinnacle of Earth-grade weapons in the past. This is good stuff. It's at least used by the mid-stage Sun-Moon realm. Shanghai realm, the early-stage Earth-grade weapons were usually used by rich mountains and seas. In the early stage of the Sun and Moon realm, those at the middle stage of the Earth Soldier realm would usually be the rich mountain and sea realm. In the middle stage of the Sun and Moon realm, those at the high stage of the Earth Soldier realm would be the rich mountain and sea realm. In the late stage of the Sun and Moon realm, those at the peak stage of the Earth Soldier realm would most likely be the rich mountain and sea realm. The prerequisite was to see if one had the money. If I can repair this fork and nurture it for a period of time, there is still hope for it to recover. However, the problem isn't small. I need some ancient materials. Modern materials might not be able to do it. If I nurture it, it might not be maintained for tens of thousands of years. In fact, it is already a little rotten. Su Yu glanced at it and shook his head slightly. It wasn't worth it to maintain it. The cost wasn't small. If he wasn't a weapon forging master and could actually repair it, it would be worth it to spend tens of thousands of merit points to find an earth weapon master to repair it. However, Su Yu was an earth weapon master himself, so there wasn't much meaning in repairing it. Its level isn't low. This is a good thing. Su Yu was delighted. It was close to the peak of the Earth Soldier realm. Even though the shell had decayed, it didn't matter. It didn't matter if it could be used or not. As long as it could be seen. If that's the case, it'll be easy. There's no need to graft too many inscriptions. To avoid being seen through, just add a fake one to the 10 inscriptions. Su Yu calculated for a while. This could still be done. Soon, he threw the shell to the side. This thing was a good thing. Just this shell alone, his 10 drops of Trash Mountain and Sea Essence blood had earned him 10 times more. More than 10 times. But that wasn't what Su Yu wanted. At this moment, a small dot of light appeared in front of him. This was the core of the fork, a miniature array formation. Su Yu's willpower probed. Boom! A jet-black light shot over. Su Yu's eyes flickered. Indeed, just like before, it was this array formation that was working. This array formation was really continuing to operate. Perhaps it would have been a little stronger back then, resulting in an even stronger counterattack. But now, the counterattack was actually only equivalent to the soaring realm. The source of the power. Su Yu did not sense that this array formation was absorbing the surrounding yuan qi. It was likely something that was maintaining the jet black light. Back then, the counterattack might have been extremely powerful. Su Yu examined it carefully and identified the array formation. He did not know much about array formations. He was afraid that if he dismantled the array formation, he would destroy the things inside. Furthermore, Suyu wanted to use this array formation again. Array formation, the principle of the array formation is actually similar to divine literature combat techniques. It consists in the combination of one foundation point after another. If I were to dismantle one foundation point, it might be successful. As for the dismantling failure, it was fine if it was really a failure. Suyu did not bother about it anymore. His heart was itching. In fact, he really wanted to know whether the source of the power was the blood essence or the divine literature. Only these two things could maintain the operation of the array formation for a long time. Moreover, it had a great relationship with the original owner. The probability of the blood essence was not too high. Because the blood essence was harmful to the body, the probability of the divine literature fusing into it was not low. Old Zhao had done it this way. Suyu's willpower probed in one after another, continuously causing the black light to counterattack. After working for a few hours, Suyu's forehead was covered in sweat. He suddenly let out a low laugh and sent his willpower into the formation again, forcefully extinguishing one of the light spots in the formation. Rumble. A series of explosions sounded in the surroundings. The formation suddenly dissipated. In the next moment, the thing that was surrounded by the formation was revealed. Divine text. That's right, divine text. At this moment, Suyu confirmed his speculation. It was a divine text, a very powerful yet very weak divine text. The powerful part was that the divine text exuded traces of pressure, giving Suyu the feeling that this divine text was only slightly inferior to Yi Batian. It was even stronger than the others he had met. It's at least at the 7th level of the Sun-Moon realm. Suyu took a glance before shaking his head. It's too weak. After spending so many years, this floating divine text gave him the feeling that it would shatter at a touch. Suyu quickly took out some heaven yuan qi and wrapped it around the divine text. As for this divine text, it seemed to have encountered a downpour as it rapidly devoured the heaven yuan qi. It seemed to have become stronger. Previously, it was probably not as powerful as when it soared into the sky. At this moment, Suyu took a careful look. He felt a little regretful. It was actually a divine text from the Celestials. F***ck. If it was a human's, he could actually nurture and recover it. Just like last time, he could use it as a temporary burst of divine text. However, the divine text from the Celestials would be shattered once it entered his sea of will. It was so weak. At most, it would help him recover some of the divine text. Counterattack. This was the meaning of this divine text. Counterattack. This was also the reason why the black light had counterattacked during Suyu's previous investigation. The main function of this divine text is probably not to recognize its owner, but to reflect damage. Suyu's eyes lit up. It had to be said that the original owner of the ancient era was a person with ideas. Rebound damage. Weapons and weapons would naturally come into contact. Once they collided and fused with this divine inscription, the person who fought with him would definitely be rebounded by the array formation in the weapon. The divine inscription from the past was probably a high-level divine inscription, so the rebound power was probably very powerful. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1787. 1787 Chapter 401, When the plan was carried out, someone from the Zhu family came free. If they met someone of the same level and came into contact with weapons, the other party might suffer double the damage. This divine text is interesting. Suyu observed it for a while. It didn't matter that he couldn't use it, but he could use the characteristics of this divine text for reference. In addition, he also wanted to see if there were any big differences between the ancient divine text and the modern divine text. He had seen the divine runes of the celestial race before. In fact, in the human realm, Hong Tan's laboratory had one. Suyu carefully inspected it. Not to mention other things, just the aura of this divine rune that had been passed down for countless years had an ancient charm to it. One look and one could tell that it was from a long time ago. If this thing is really restored, it will also be a powerful divine rune. It is indeed difficult to use. First, it can be used to self-destruct. The prerequisite is that the compatibility is high. Second, it might even be able to open up a new mystic realm, a rebound mystic realm. Su Yu shook his head. According to the characteristics of this mystic realm, it did not seem to have much meaning. Recovery could still be recovered. It could be nurtured with willpower or heaven yuan qi. Su Yu fell into deep thought. Perhaps he could nourish it a little to make the divine rune stronger. In this way, it could be implanted into his body, or even into his weapon. It would be of great use. Body. Su Yu muttered. It would be best if he could create a fake body. No, it would be fine if it was real. It would be best if it was a sun-moon realm celestial. That's right. I have an 8th level sun-moon realm celestial. Su Yu mumbled to himself and quickly shook his head. He could not bear to part with it. No. It's still possible. I should be able to extract the blood essence now. I'll extract more than half of it. No, I'll extract 9/10 of it. A celestial at the peak of the sun-moon realm who is extremely weak. After countless years, the body can still be maintained at the 8th level of the sun-moon realm. It's normal for the divine runes to decline to the mountain sea realm or the Lingyun realm. Su Yu had spent a lot of money. He might be able to use up this celestial corpse at the 8th level of the sun-moon realm. He couldn't bear to risk his life. He only needed the blood essence. After extracting 90% of it, he could still maintain the pressure of the 8th level of the sun-moon realm in his body. After countless years, he could still maintain the 8th level of the sun-moon realm. That would be amazing. Back then, he was at least at the peak of the sun-moon realm. But the corpse has to be aged. It was too fresh. Also, after being aged, Su Yu's heart skipped a beat. Aging was actually simple. After corroding the corpse with the aura of death for a period of time, it would naturally be aged. It could also make the original aura of the corpse indistinguishable. Were there dead spirits in the ancient times? If there were, it would be even more realistic. This person might have died in a battle with the dead spirits in the ancient times. The heavenly celestial race at the 8th level of the sun-moon realm. After aging it, install a divine text, get an ancient weapon, and get some other supporting equipment. Su Yu calculated for a moment. He had really invested a lot. The cost of such a set of equipment was more than 20 wisps of heaven and earth mystic light. The main thing was the corpse of the 8th level of the sun-moon realm. Su Yu had to leave at least 1 drop of blood essence in it. 1 drop of blood essence at the 8th level of the sun-moon realm was enough to exchange for 10 drops of the 1st level of the sun-moon realm. With the addition of divine inscriptions, ancient weapons, and an ancient cultivation technique. F***CK. If he didn't sell it for 200 wisps of heaven and earth mystic light, Su Yu wouldn't even think that it was worth 10 times the profit. Since he had already cheated them, he had already spent so much on the cost and price, and he had also spent so much energy and risked his life. If he didn't earn more than 10 times the profit, why would he still cheat? Su Yu rubbed his hands together. Under such circumstances, was there anyone who still doubted him? What a joke! A corpse that had been corroded for countless years still possessed the power of the 8th layer of the sun and moon. How could this be fake? Who would use the corpse of the 8th layer of the sun and moon to create a fake? The key was, where could he get the corpse of the 8th layer of the sun and moon? If he had the ability to kill, who would care about lying to others? Why would Invincible set up a huge scam just for a few hundred rays of heaven and earth mystic light? It wasn't that boring. With a complete set of equipment, just preparing other things would give Invincible a headache. Not everyone had ancient divine inscriptions, and ancient weapons were also powerful weapons. Not everyone had them. As these thoughts flashed through Su Yu's mind, he was delighted. The more he thought about it, the more perfect the plan became. The higher the credibility. The corpse of an 8th-level sun-moon expert, along with the corrosion of the aura of death, along with an ancient city token, ancient divine inscriptions, weapons, and powerful ancient cultivation technique. If he still doubted this, then there would be no justice. Now, I have no way out. How could he lie? How could he ensure his own safety? How could he escape unscathed? Now that he had completed these few points, he didn't have to worry anymore. With these thoughts in his mind, Su Yu didn't care anymore. He quickly began to forge the fork. He had to change its appearance. The ape recognized the fork. He wasn't afraid of anything. What if it was discovered? Did the ancient heavenly celestial race exist? They should exist. He had to investigate this. If it didn't work, he would destroy the characteristics of the heavenly celestial race. What kind of weapon did this race like to use the most? A bow? It made sense. This race's archery skills were very strong. I have to investigate this. The heavenly celestial race's inheritance history, the primitive celestial race has always existed. The heavenly celestial race might not. Don't make a big mistake. That would be bad. Soon, Su Yu packed up and walked out of the small building. He wanted to check the information. At the same time, he wanted to make some contact with the Myriad Treasures building or the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. These guys had cheated him of many treasures last time. Their prices were frighteningly black. It wouldn't be bad if he could trick them. In addition, would his identity as the mountain-shattering Ox Clan be useful? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1788. 1788 Chapter 401. When the plan was carried out, someone from the Zhu family came a subscription, for. This was a problem that needed to be judged from now on. Once someone purchased his information from the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, and the Heaven Hunting Pavilion was unable to provide it, then was there a problem with his identity? It would be best if it was an existing identity. Moreover, that fellow couldn't die yet, but it would be best if he captured him and temporarily pretended to be him. Dragons, immortals, gods, and demons are all fine. However, since we are going to sell out, it would be best if we are rebellious and do as we please, so we won't hand it over to our own clan. Too many thoughts rose up in his mind. In other words, this clan was very powerful, but they lacked resources, so they could sell out as well. At this moment, Su Yu vaguely thought of a few people. Those fellows on the heaven roll were actually all fine. These people were used to doing things their own way. It was not rare for them to sell things to others. Even if the things were very precious, these geniuses were unruly and unruly. So what if they sold them? Catch a heaven roll expert and pretend to be him? Su Yu cursed in his heart. The difficulty was too high. Strictly speaking, he was not the weakest among the heaven roll experts. He was also one of the few who ranked lower. Take Shan Wushuang, the existence who killed the sun and moon. Xian Wuji was about the same. Modwo was considered weak, but his realm was low. He could also wrestle with the sun and moon. If the heaven roll can't do it, then so can the earth roll. It would be best if the invincible one doesn't care about you. Soon, several people appeared in Su Yu's mind. The first one was the floating earth spirit. The Five Elements clan was not weak. This guy was fooling around outside, so Invincible might not care about him. If he got something good, the Five Elements clan might not have the ability to take it for themselves. Therefore, it was very normal for him to sell it to others. The second one was the little golden dragon. Invincible's descendant looked very arrogant and had a strong desire for revenge. If he obtained something good, he might not hand it over to the Dragon Clan. However, the prerequisite was that Invincible of the Little Golden Dragon Clan would not personally come and force him to give it to them. The third one was Tendo. The genius of the Primogenitor clan was also Invincible's descendant. However, the Primogenitor clan was now fully supporting Madwa. Tendo was not highly regarded in the clan, including his ancestor. It was said that his ancestor didn't go to the previous incident in the ancient city. The Demon King he went to was only there to save Madwa. However, with his identity here, unless his ancestor came personally to take the items, the other Demon Kings wouldn't be able to directly snatch his items. These were the few people he knew. In fact, they were all quite suitable. The most suitable one was actually Madwa. If this fellow really wanted to sell something, even the Demon King wouldn't say anything. 9-Star Island. These fellows might all be here. But the difficulty of capturing them isn't low. There might be people over there keeping an eye on the mutation. Once something happens to a genius, it'll be very troublesome. We have to go to 9-Star Island. Capture only one, not kill. Capture one first. Capturing one would also give them a chance to escape. Using this identity, at least for a short period of time, no one would dare to make a move against them. The plan was becoming more and more perfect. The difficulty of the operation wasn't low. It didn't matter. The more difficult it was, the safer it would be, and the more realistic it would be. As for whether impersonating them would let others know that they could become a member of the otherworldly demonic tribe, nonsense, everyone already knew. Ever since he had disguised himself as Chui Lang, everyone knew his current level of disguise. He had divine inscriptions that could alter his appearance and aura, making it difficult to distinguish the sun and moon. This wasn't something that no one knew. Even if they knew, it was still useless if they couldn't discover it. However, he had previously thought of impersonating a certain genius to prepare for his future Dao verification. This plan was a little difficult to implement. Let's go to 9-Star Island and look for my old friend. Let's see who is alone. Let's capture him first. Tian Duo, the Little Golden Dragon, and the Floating Earth Spirit. Su Yu was confident in taking them down. The Dragon Clan was nearby. Forget it, the Little Golden Dragon was ranked last, and he was afraid that the Dragon Clan would directly become invincible. Even if the Floating Earth Spirit and Tian Duo were invincible, it would take some time. I still need to find a safe place to take out the body of the 8th level Sun and Moon, extract the blood essence, and then corrode it. In the next few days, Su Yu did not leave Bright Light City. He searched for information, searched for documents, and bought information. He spent a lot of money. He even recovered the ancient divine text. Little Harry Ball wanted to eat it several times, but was beaten up by Su Yu. What was there to eat? Now that he ate it, it was only an ancient divine text with a slightly rotten smell. He exchanged it for a large amount of heaven and earth mystic light, so why would he be afraid of not eating it? Heaven and earth mystic light was not expensive. It was only a drop of blood essence of a first-level Sun-Moon expert. If a first-level Sun-Moon demonic beast was killed, it would be exchanged for at least 10 wisps. This expert at the peak of the 9th-level Sun-Moon was a complete set of equipment. Wouldn't it be enough to sell it for dozens of first-level Sun-Moon experts? If he didn't give himself 300 to 500 wisps, he would feel that it was a loss. One peak of the 9th level of the ancient Sun-Moon realm was comparable to 30 to 51st level Sun-Moon experts, right? Moreover, the heaven and earth mystic light didn't necessarily have to kill people. This thing was captured in the endless void. The sun and moon only needed to spend some time. Experts from large clans didn't care about time. Su Yu began to prepare. He began to prepare. At this moment, 9-Star Island, which was close to 10,000 miles away from the Heavenly Dawn Island, was bustling with activity. One after another, peerless geniuses appeared. Su Yu's possible appearance here also caused a heated discussion. Many people went around to investigate the situation. Outside 9-Star Island, the sun and moon stared at those geniuses and didn't enter the island. However, there had been great battles in the past few days, and the geniuses were constantly exchanging blows. However, Su Yu's whereabouts had never been found. On 9-Star Island, the geniuses were wandering around, challenging each other. The challenges here weren't sparring, but life and death battles. If they survived, they would be lucky, but if they died, there would be nothing they could do. If they weren't lucky, they would be unlucky. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1789. 1789. When the plan for Chapter 401 was carried out, someone from the Zhu family came. 5. Su Yu didn't appear for a long time, and those geniuses didn't care too much. They didn't have to keep an eye on Su Yu. Just as Su Yu was thinking about how to lie to others, this side was extremely lively, and the battle was unceasing. Outside the island, above the sea, a great battle was erupting. The sound wasn't loud, only the sound of weapons clashing was unceasing. Boom! A blade light reflected in the void, and in the next moment, a spear shadow followed closely behind. In front, several figures were pierced through. In the next moment, with a roar, a fist shattered the blade light, but it was sent flying by the spear shadow and pierced through the body. Huang Teng. Qin Fang. Tian Duo spat out blood and looked at the two people in front of him. Huang Teng laughed and said, Tian Duo, not bad, your strength has improved, and you can almost fight me to a draw, amazing. Tendo was at the 7th level of Lingyun. Huang Teng had already stepped into the 6th level of Lingyun, and Huang Teng was a famous genius of the human race. Previously, he had killed someone at the 2nd level of the mountain and sea realm at the 5th level of Lingyun. At this moment, it was already not bad that Tendo could fight him to a draw. Of course, Tendo was one level higher than him and was at the 7th level of Lingyun. Qin Fang, who was beside him, had a calm expression on his face. He did not pay attention to Tendo. Instead, he looked at Madwa Na in the distance. He was a little wary and a little scared. He pretended to be calm and said, Madwa Na, you want to kill us? You can try. Madwa Na glanced at him but didn't look at him. He was extremely indifferent. Kill you? You flatter yourself. The last time he chased you, he was just playing with you. Qin Fang had actually stepped into the 7th level of Lingyun. He was about 3 times stronger than before. He might be able to deal with the 4th level of the mountain and sea realm, but, to him, he was too weak. Previously, he had no interest in dealing with him, let alone now. He did not look at Qin Fang at all, and he even ignored Huang Teng. Instead, he looked behind them and said calmly, Sir, are you willing to play with me? At this moment, the void rippled, and a human figure appeared. He did not look old, but in fact, he was not young. He was an expert of the human race. Qin Fang turned his head to look, and his heart moved slightly. Big Brother Zhu. Zhu Guangshan. The grandson of the Darming king, Zhu Tiandao's son, and his eldest son. To the human race, his age wasn't considered young. At this moment, he was already at the peak of the mountain and sea realm. This was an invincible direct descendant, the peak of the mountain and sea realm, while Madwa was only at the peak of Lingyun. Zhu Guangshan appeared and walked out of the void. He chuckled and said, Madwa. I've heard so much about you. Forget about me, my Darming mansion isn't good at fighting. If you want to fight, fine, fight it. As he finished speaking, a figure appeared. A plump round ball with dark circles around its eyes appeared. Iron Eater Beast. Zhu Hongliang's Iron Eater Beast was brought here by him. Zhu Guangshan laughed and said, My Daming Manor is only here to take a look. We're also looking for Su Yu. When we see him, We'll make him surrender and take the initiative to go to the celestial race to admit his mistake. We're here for peace, not to fight. With that, he threw down another black thing. Maudwa subconsciously took a step back, and soon, countless giant ants appeared in the air. Around them, experts appeared one after another. One of the sun and moon experts shouted coldly, "Daming manner, put this thing away." Zhu Guangshan smiled and said, "Don't be nervous. This is the third generation, and we can still control it. Isn't this Maudwa going to beat me up? I have no choice. It's just to protect myself, and I can't beat him. Don't think that I'm at the peak of the mountain and sea realm. It's all because of the resources my grandfather gave me." He sighed and said, "In order to protect me, there are still experts from my daming manor. I don't fight, but you geniuses fight." As he said that, another expert appeared. Someone cursed in a low voice. F***CK. The general of the heavenly Tao army. And that wasn't all. In the next moment, another person appeared, the general of the Daming Manor's iron cavalry. Very quickly, another person appeared, an Ing. The three suns and moons were high and heavy. Yes, they were all high and heavy. The general of the heavenly Tao army, the general of the iron cavalry, and the general of the shadow guards. If these three were all captured in one go, the military of the Daming Manor would probably be leaderless. Crazy. Were the people from the Daming mansion so afraid of death? In order to protect a crown prince, a few military generals had arrived. Zhu Guang smiled deeply and said, "I really have no intention of becoming enemies with you all. I'm not a genius either. The battle of geniuses, you guys continue. Just don't drag me into it. Maudwa Na, you're a genius, I'm not. Your family has invincibility, my family also has invincibility. There's no need to fight with me." Maudwa Na didn't say anything and turned around to leave. Scram. Why the F***CK did you go out and bring the three generals with you? You've searched all over the heavens, but you probably can't find them. What's the point of playing? Just as Zhu Guangshan said, he wasn't a genius, and he didn't need to take any risks. He only brought the three generals with him. Why don't you try beating him up? If it wasn't for his father keeping watch over the manor, this fellow might have even brought his father. In the surroundings, the experts dispersed one after another. Very quickly, Huang Teng and Qin Fang looked at each other, cupped their fists at him, and quickly left as well. They did not come here to borrow Zhu Guangshan's power to flaunt their might. They came here to kill people, to be killed by others. You brought three sun and moon experts with you, what are you fighting for? Zhu Guangshan smiled. Really, you run really fast. That's good too, don't find trouble with me. I'm just here to take a look at the situation, and at the same time, to investigate when the Starry Mansion will open. I'll have to trouble the generals. The three sun and moon lords did not say anything and quickly disappeared into the void. I'm asking if you're convinced. Our Daming Manor is like this. There are no geniuses to come to battle. What's wrong with the crown prince bringing three sun and moon lords when he goes out? Only the Daming king hasn't been around recently. Otherwise, would you believe me if I brought the Daming king here? Someone had done this before, such as Zhu Tiandao. In the past, someone who had ventured into the heavenly battlefield had brought his father along. Zhu Tiandao had been ignored by the myriad clans. They didn't think that he had any hope of attaining Tao. This had a lot to do with these things. It was an old tradition. He was even more ruthless than Zhu Guangshan. He had really brought his father as a guard. There were probably few people in the myriad clans who were more afraid of death than him. Even the experts of the myriad clans despised him. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1790. 1790 Chapter 402 Lived a comfortable life. 1. Near Nine-Star Island, there were endless battles. On the Heavenly Dawn Island, it was relatively quiet. However, there were also people going out to the Sea of Stars region to take a chance. Most of the time, they would never come back. Perhaps they had died, or perhaps they had fallen into a small world, or perhaps they had fallen into some ancient space. After a few years, they would appear again. Such a situation had happened before. In Bright Light City, Suyu had finished his preparations, and the ancient weapons had almost been disguised. Now, all he needed was a corpse. A corpse at the 8th level of the sun and moon was extracting blood essence in the city. Suyu was worried that the pressure would be too great and that he would be noticed. At this moment, Suyu was also preparing to leave. He was going to find a place where no one was around to extract blood essence. He was also going to fake the corpse. He looked through the information. The Heavenly E celestial race existed in the ancient times, and they had even produced top-tier experts. In the ancient times, there was a legend of the Heavenly E celestial race. An expert of the Heavenly E celestial race held a bow in his hand, and he had once killed an invincible expert. Since there was such a person, it was not surprising that an ancient Heavenly E celestial race had appeared. It's time to leave the city. Suyu had stayed here for a few days. At this moment, according to the time of the human race, it was already July 25th. August 1st, the new students would start school. And this time, the polytheistic college would open. This was the sign of chaos. There was not much time left for him. Even if Suyu did not know the situation, he knew that once the polytheistic college opened, the Great Xia Manor would enter the sign of chaos. I have to hurry, Suyu said in his heart as he walked out of the small building. It was still lively outside. The place was bustling with people. Nine-Star Island was the closest island. Everyone was paying close attention to the situation there, and some people even went to both sides. Last night, a great battle broke out in the sea near Nine-Star Island. The celestial race, Zhan Wushuang, and the celestial race, Xian Wuji. Damn, is this still considered a mountain and sea? The sky and earth were shattered, and the sun and moon were destroyed. These two are stronger than the sun and moon, right? These two are strong, but in my opinion, Mingyu of the underworld is even more powerful. She's only at the 6th level of the mountain and sea realm. Yesterday morning, she fought a powerful expert of the heavenly dragon race at the peak of the mountain and sea realm. She used the death and underworld divine art and killed that expert of the heavenly dragon race. She attracted Long Yingyue, and they fought for 300 rounds before dispersing. So powerful. The peak of the mountain and sea realm of the heavenly dragon race can go against the sun and moon, right? Doesn't that mean that Mingyu can kill the sun and moon? Doesn't that mean she's even stronger than Zhan Wushuang? Mingyu is only at the 6th level of the mountain and sea realm. That's hard to say. These two have never fought before, so who knows? The spectators were all very excited as they discussed animatedly. Geniuses. They were all peerless geniuses. There was no end to the war. Mingyu of the underworld, the current 4th on the heaven roll, was an expert at the 6th level of the mountain and sea realm. Yesterday, she directly killed a peak of the mountain and sea realm heavenly dragon. One had to know that this was the heavenly dragon tribe, an existence on the same level as the original demon tribe, the primitive god tribe, and the ancient immortal tribe. Such a peak race expert was killed by someone who had crossed 3 realms, and it was a reverse attack from the 6th level mountain and sea to the peak of the mountain and sea. This was even more eye-catching than the battle between Zhan Wushuang and Xian Wuji. That human Qin Fong is also very powerful. He stepped into the 7th level of Lingyun. The night before yesterday, in the Billow Gorge, he killed a 1st level mountain and sea expert of the Thunder Celestial race with a spear. He is also a peak expert of the reverse attack Celestial race. No wonder he could be on the heaven roll previously. Qin Fong. He's still lacking. He can't be compared to the cursed soul of the heavenly abyss race, cursed soul of the third level of the mountain and sea realm. Previously, he directly killed the Swan Ni clan genius ranked 26th on the Earth roll. His opponent is already at the 5th level of the mountain and sea realm. The great battles continued, and the geniuses died. Recently, the heaven hunting roll had undergone great changes. A large number of geniuses had been killed. Similarly, after killing these geniuses, the other geniuses had also benefited greatly. Their gains were huge, and there were people whose strength continued to improve. Yesterday, they might have a draw with you, but after a day, the other party might surpass you. The battle between geniuses was extremely dangerous. Killing was the best way for geniuses to improve. You kill me, I kill you. It's either you die or I die. Su Yu listened silently, and soon, he heard the news of an acquaintance. The human race is on the rise. Since the day before yesterday, they've been hunting him down. This guy is unlucky again. He actually provoked the madman of the Bloodfire demon race. The 3 mid-stage mountain and sea realm experts of the Bloodfire demon race went to hunt him down. I wonder when this guy will die. On the human side, Su Yu didn't appear. Su Yu isn't here. The highest ranked person is Qin Fang. Who said that? Isn't there still that Lu Wenyan? Nonsense. He's already so old. He's still hiding in the human race. Huang Tang was being hunted down again. Su Yu was convinced. Why were you being hunted down every day? The Blood-Fire demon race was indeed crazy. Su Yu knew this. How did Huang Tang provoke these guys? Su Yu couldn't help but laugh in his heart. These crazy guys. Kill, or be killed. The pursuit of geniuses was indeed different. Killing geniuses of the same level was perhaps the fastest way to improve. It would erupt in slaughter and rise in battle. He had also heard the news about Maudwa Na. This genius who was previously number 1 on the heaven roll had gone to look for trouble with Xian Wuji and Zhan Wushuang in the past 2 days. They were both at the 8th level of the 6th level of the mountain and sea realm. If he, who was only at the 9th level of the Lingyun realm, went to look for trouble, who knew if he would be beaten to death? This had nothing to do with Su Yu. In short, the battles in the 9-star island region had never stopped, and it didn't matter whether Su Yu was there or not. The geniuses on the list were all fighting and fighting. Furthermore, there had been a lot of opportunities recently. The Starry Sky Mansion was about to open, and a large amount of yuan qi was overflowing. Willpower was boiling, and someone had even picked up an ancient dragon blood tree on the surface of the sea. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1791. 1791 Chapter 402 Lived a comfortable life too. This thing was of great help to the dragon race. The dragon blood fruit was of great help to the dragon race's Lingyun Yuan Qi transformation. It could allow the dragon race to undergo the highest level of Yuan Qi transformation. For the sake of this ancient tree, the dragon race sent the sun and moon experts to hunt it down. In the end, the guy who picked up the tree already knew the danger. He sold it directly to the origin demon race at the price of 10 drops of sun and moon mystic yellow liquid. The Shur-Mo race experts were arguing with the dragon race. This made Su Yu interested. If he could pick up the dragon blood ancient tree, it was normal for him to find a broken space. However, he had to protect it. He had to have a strong identity. Looking at the dragon race, they wanted to snatch the guy who had picked up the ancient tree. He was said to be a mountain sea realm expert, but it was useless. They could only sell it to the Shur-Mo race. The Shur-Mo race was willing to spend money to buy it in order to quickly get the dragon blood ancient tree. They wanted to control the dragon race. Otherwise, they might not have spent money. The guy who had gotten 10 drops of sun and moon mystic yellow liquid had gone to God knows where. He might even be killed by the incipient demon race. The incipient demon race and the dragon race did not have a big fight. Instead, they were arguing. This was confidence. The incipient demon race was very strong. Would the dragon race dare to go all out against the incipient demon race? It was normal for geniuses to fight each other. Once the sun and moon battle between the two races broke out, it was very likely that an even more intense battle would quickly erupt. Therefore, the dragon race had to obediently spend money to buy it now. If they didn't earn 10 times, would the incipient demon race agree? 100 drops of the sun and moon mystic yellow liquid was already comparable to 300 rays of heaven and earth mystic light. It was just an ancient tree. Although it was very powerful, it was already stronger than his ancient quasi-invincible body. Was it more valuable than his quasi-invincible ancient corpse? Sure enough, all the major clans were rich. Except for the humans. Their foundations were too weak. The humans had only stabilized more than 300 years ago, and their development was too short. They even relied on snatching the heaven origin fruit trees. Look at the celestials. Any one of them would bring some heaven origin fruit with them when they went out. There was no way they could be compared. Su Yu was also envious when he heard this. What the f***ck? They were all very rich. Things like the black-yellow liquid were all used as strategic resources to trade. The dragon blood ancient tree was also a good thing. It could help the dragon race's yuan qi transform. Once he finished casting, he would have to consider what to use to help his yuan qi transform. Of course, that was still early. The current Suyu had only completed casting 27. Of course, casting 28 was also soon. He had consumed quite a lot of heaven essence qi in the past few days. With the help of the breathing technique, his cultivation speed was quite fast. Logically speaking, the later stages were more difficult, but Suyu did not have much of a difference. It was just that he had used up a lot of heaven yuan qi. At this rate, after 28 casts were completed, Suyu might not have any money left to use. He had even used a portion of heaven yuan qi to nurture the ancient divine text, allowing it to recover its strength and strengthen itself. At the very least, it would recover to the mountains and seas, or even the sun and moon. Only then would the strength of this corpse be revealed. Countless years later, his divine text could still be maintained at the sun and moon realm. One could imagine just how powerful it was in the past. The cost of counterfeiting was getting greater and greater. Suyu had also spared no expense for the sake of counterfeiting. In reality, this wasn't even considered a fake. A genuine 8th level sun and moon corpse still had blood essence left behind. It was a genuine high-grade ancient earth rank weapon, it was a genuine 7th level sun moon divine text. This could not be considered a fake. It could only be said that it was slightly packaged. Suyu did not think too much. Very quickly, he walked out of Bright Light City. Leaving the city, he laughed coldly in his heart. There are still people who have their eyes on me. It was probably because these guys had discovered that I had spent money to buy information these past few days. Adding on the fact that he had bought the ancient weapon of the monkey and moved into a small building that was not cheap, Suyu had indeed spent quite a lot these past few days. It was normal for these guys to have their eyes on him. Although the mountain-breaking ox at the Lingyun realm was one of the top 100 races, it could at most display the strength of a 5th or 6th level Lingyun. Was the Lingyun realm considered a powerhouse here? Yes, but it was not considered top tier. Although this place was not as good as 9-Star Island, there were still mountains and seas here. Suyu walked all the way to the entrance of the sea. Gradually, he also found out how many guys were following him. 3 groups of people. The first group consisted of 3 people, 2 in the later stage of Lingyun, and 1 in the middle stage. The second group consisted of 4 people in the later stage of Lingyun. The third group consisted of one person because they were from the same mountain and sea. They weren't from the same group. Suyu could tell from the telepathic jade that these groups of people weren't together. It was possible that they didn't see each other, or perhaps the mountain and sea person had found out and was hiding with the intention of killing them together. Second level of the mountain and sea realm is not weak at all. Unfortunately, it still doesn't work. Suyu cursed in his heart. It's pretty good. I just happen to be running out of blood essence. I need blood essence to extract Heaven Yuan Qi. Since you guys have delivered yourselves to my door, I can avoid going to look for you myself. In the Sea of Stars, there were more than one or two people who did such things. It was normal for many people to do it. With his tail, Suyu entered the sea. The Sea of Stars was still rippling as waves swept across. The Yuan Qi became denser. Near the Skyglow Island, one could often see some sky-soaring realm cultivators fighting with some demons under the guidance of their elders. Suyu did not approach either. He quickly flew towards the distant sea. He looked very vigilant. He even stopped a few times along the way. He looked around as his willpower spread out. It was as though he was looking for someone to follow him. After flying for more than an hour, they had already flown for several hundred li. Only then did Suyu stop in his tracks. These fellows sure can tolerate it. They are all following him. However, he did not make a move for a long time. There was no one else in the area, and he did not even make a move. He did not know what they were waiting for. Could it be that they had discovered the other party's existence and did not dare to make a move recklessly? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1792. 1792 Chapter 402 Lived a Comfortable Life 3. How could Suyu have the time to waste with them? He still needed to find an uninhabited place to extract the blood essence and fake the corpse. On the surface of the sea. Suyu shouted, "Those who are following me, it's time to come out. Do you still want to continue following us? How dare you? My mountain-breaking bull clan is one of the top 100 races. There is an invincible clan in our clan. If you dare to follow me, aren't you afraid that my mountain-breaking bull clan will find trouble with you?" No one responded. Suyu shook his head. He thought that he was just testing them out. "Fine, I won't play with you anymore." He used his perception jade to check again. There was no one else within a kilometer radius. There was a high probability that there was no one else within a kilometer radius. There was no movement from the hijack script. Even if there was a mountain and sea following them, there wouldn't be any waves. Fine, then this way. He would first get rid of that mountain and sea. The remaining Ling Yun wouldn't be able to outrun him. Suyu's physical strength had reached close to 30,000 apertures. This meant that his speed, explosive strength, and resistance had reached this level. In fact, he was very strong, comparable to the mountain and sea. It was just that he usually met some strong clan geniuses. At this moment, Suyu suddenly broke through the air. His speed was shockingly fast. The void trembled, and in the next moment, a fist suddenly fell from the sky. A loud boom rang out. A cheetah appeared. Its entire body was pitch black, and its movements were extremely fast as it clawed at Suyu with its claws. Boom! Suyu's punch directly shattered the cheetah's claws. Impossible! The cheetah was shocked and furious. It was at the second level of the mountain and sea realm, and its opponent was just Ling Yun. How could it be that its claws were so powerful that they were actually shattered by a single punch? This wasn't Ling Yun, no, this didn't seem to be a member of the mountain-breaking ox clan. That wasn't right either. It seemed like a mountain-breaking strike just now. Hairy Ball, do your work. Hurry up, don't let them escape. Suyu couldn't be bothered with the cheetah. In his mind, the little hairy ball quickly escaped. Its speed was so fast that it was boundless. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared into the sea of consciousness. It was also an ancient Lingyun clan, and it was an extremely special ancient clan. It wasn't easy to deal with those of the same level as it. In the air, miserable shrieks could be heard, but no sound could be heard. As for Su Yu, he once again punched out. Just as the cheetah was about to escape, a huge hammer smashed down. Boom! An intense explosion sounded, and the sea of consciousness of the cheetah exploded. Su Yu's fist landed, and with a boom, his head exploded. Blood splattered everywhere. Trash! Su Yu shook his head. He recognized this race, the Shadow Cheetah. It was ranked within 1,000, and there was an expert of the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm guarding it. However, it was not invincible. This was a trash race. The 2nd level of the Mountain and Sea realm was even easier to kill than Lei Ju. As expected, the gap between the strong and the weak was really huge. Trash with less than 100 openings. Su Yu shook his head again. This was probably the weak Mountain and Sea realm. It had around 20,000 openings. Other than its speed, it didn't have any powerful cultivation techniques, a strong physical body, or powerful weapons. Its killing ability wasn't strong either. Killing some Lingyun was fine, but if Su Yu met him, Su Yu could kill it with just his physical body. He was too lazy to waste time, so he hammered it until its sea of consciousness exploded. After putting away the other party's corpse, there wasn't a single storage ring left. Trash, a pauper. Other than a body full of flesh and blood, there was nothing good. Su Yu quickly flew in another direction. At this moment, there was an additional group of vegetative figures. 7, not a single one less. The little hairy ball appeared and showed off its might. It stacked the 7 Lingyuns together, and its round face smiled. It had also contributed. Su Yu was too lazy to waste words. His willpower exploded, and with a boom, killing intent exploded. The 7 vegetative figures died one after another. In the next moment, the accumulated rewards appeared, and a cloud appeared between heaven and earth. The big one went to Su Yu, and the small one flew to the head of the little hairy ball. Actually, the reward was not bad. Killing a Mountain and Sea 2nd layer meant that he had crossed an entire major stage. However, at Su Yu's level, the so-called reward was not bad, but that was all. Actually, the reward for killing a genius was still more. For example, killing Madonna. Although the other party was only at the 9th layer of Lingyun realm, killing him might give Su Yu more benefits than killing the sun and moon. This was also the rule of heaven and earth. Therefore, on the heavenly battlefield, everyone liked to kill geniuses. The reward was actually not bad. Su Yu was given about 10 portions of heaven origin chi. That was really not a small amount. Moreover, the heaven origin chi that was rewarded was digested even faster. Su Yu's physical body quickly absorbed, digested, and tempered. His physical body became slightly stronger and accelerated the progress of the 28 portions. On the other hand, little hairy ball looked a little disgusted. It was given some willpower and felt that it was very little. It was barely able to eat all of this willpower. It did not smell good at all. Su Yu did not bother with it. He cleaned up the battlefield, cleared away the blood and chi, and killed people in the sea of stars without making a sound. If one was not on the list, no one would know that the vast and boundless sea of stars was the biggest tomb. Everything would be washed away very quickly. As for Su Yu, he still cleaned up a little to avoid leaving anything behind. At the same time, he burned the little hairy ball and instantly caught it in his mind. Don't leave any aura behind. If the heaven hunting list captures it, it will be very troublesome. The heaven hunting pavilion is everywhere. Now that the little hairy ball was not on the list, it had a lot to do with the fact that its aura was not captured by the heaven hunting pavilion. The heaven hunting pavilion did not know of its existence at all. As for the heaven hunting list, he did not know whether it was because it was not powerful enough, or if it was damaged or something else. He could only rely on the heaven hunting pavilion to capture the aura and input information to determine its identity. Only then could he sense the other party in the heavenly battlefield. In reality, according to Su Yu's judgment, the heaven hunting rankings were very terrifying. He killed people in the ancient city, and the ancient city was sealed off. Even the heaven hunting rankings could detect it. Logically speaking, there was no need for the heaven hunting pavilion to capture the aura and input them one by one. Names might be needed, but auras shouldn't be needed. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 1793. 1793 Chapter 402 Lived a Good Life 4. Perhaps there were some problems that caused the automatic aura collection function to be damaged. In his mind, little Harry Ball said expectantly, "Then when are we going to rob the heaven hunting pavilion?" "There's no rush." Su Yu smiled and said, "What's the rush? If it doesn't work, I'll let you go and rob it." "I'm not going to rob it. I'm a good person." "Good my ass." Su Yu did not believe it. This race ate divine runes, willpower, and sea of willpower. Was this considered a good person? Alright, since the other party was not a person, it did not matter whether he was a good person or a bad person. Let's go find a safe place to create corpses. Su Yu left through the air. Not long after he left, a few figures appeared. They were all wearing masks, and they were all from the heaven hunting pavilion. A creature died. It should be the mountain and sea. There was a fluctuation of the aura of the mountain and sea. The masked men quickly communicated and took out a device to quickly capture the aura. However, someone quickly shook his head and said, "The aura doesn't exist. It must have been dealt with. The winner is very vigilant." The leader of the white masked men nodded and said, "Very vigilant. We don't know who killed it. If it was someone on the list or someone who appeared on the list, it would be shown. We don't know if it was someone on the list who killed it." The heaven hunting pavilion had a backup of all the auras they had collected. If they checked, they would trigger some mechanisms to determine their identities. It's too chaotic right now. There are too many geniuses on the list. Otherwise, Su Yu might be the one who's killing now. But right now, we can't tell. The white masked leader shook his head again. He couldn't tell. Otherwise, Su Yu might be the one who killed. If nothing else, that guy was full of killing intent. It would be strange if he didn't kill someone here. But now, his killing intent was just as great as Su Yu's. The pavilion asked us to find Su Yu and give him the sub-rankings. That guy still owes us a 6th level mountain and sea realm corpse from the Black Armor clan. That guy still has a few sun and moon corpses. They're all good items for trade. Unfortunately, they're gone. The heaven hunting pavilion members were very regretful. This was a big client. The trade was 1 point. In addition, all the powerful clans were buying Su Yu's information and whereabouts at a shocking price. Not one, but many. If he sold them, Su Yu would be able to sell them for a sky-high price. However, that guy was very shrewd. He had lost the ranking board long ago. Not only had he lost the ranking board, but that guy might have also lost some foreign items. Otherwise, some invincible experts might still be able to find out his location. In the end, even if they were to find out where the dead sun and moon were, they wouldn't be able to find out. There had always been interference. It was very strong. They didn't know that the thing they were searching for was in Heaven Break Valley. Not only was that place located in the Sea of Desire Plains, but it was also a place where two powerful invincible experts were fighting. Everything was being interfered with. Not to mention the invincible experts, even half-emperors would find it difficult to find out the location, Su Yu, who had already left, didn't know about this. However, he guessed that there were people from the heaven hunting pavilion nearby. These guys were elusive. The next time he met them, he would kill a few first. Su Yu was not the first to have such thoughts. In truth, the heaven hunting pavilion had lost many people every year. For example, before this, Aning had crushed a mountain sea realm heaven hunting pavilion member to death. The heaven hunting pavilion did not usually care. If you sold out the whereabouts of others, it was normal for others to kill you. They were very important when they were needed. When they weren't needed, it was common for them to fish and kill. After flying for a while, they were far away from the heavenly Afterglow Island and the 9-Star Island. Only then did Su Yu dive into the water and search around. It would be troublesome if there wasn't an entrance to a small realm. Once he entered the water, he would turn into a water person. Su Yu quickly scouted the surroundings. Everything within a 10,000-meter radius was within his scouting range. He sensed the Jade and the Calamity Divine text. After confirming that there were no living beings and that there was no entrance to a small realm, Su Yu quickly dived down to the bottom of the sea. After diving down for tens of thousands of meters, Su Yu felt immense pressure and stopped his actions. It was about time. In fact, if he had nothing to do, cultivating under the sea was not a bad outcome. In the next moment, Su Yu took out a corpse. The corpse was very big. The moment it appeared, with a boom, the sea water boiled. In the surroundings, the sea water with immense pressure was directly repelled. 8th level Sun Moon. In order to surround and kill Xiao Longwu, the heavenly Yi celestial race had put in a lot of effort. They also knew how powerful Xiao Longwu was. Back then, they had sent 5 experts with high levels of Sun Moon, including Sect Master Heavenly Yi, and 6 experts with high levels of Sun Moon. The 8th level wasn't even considered the strongest, but there was still a 9th level existence. Such a powerful faction and so many experts, yet in the end, not a single hair of Xiao Longwu was injured. The Heavenly Yi celestial race also suffered heavy losses. Previously, Xiao Longwu was also strong, but he wasn't strong enough to not be injured even after killing so many Sun and Moon experts. Su Yu looked at the huge corpse in front of him and was also shocked. It was really that F*King powerful. Even though he was dead, his chi was still incomparably sharp. It repeatedly struck Su Yu's body, leaving behind many bloody scars. Su Yu's current body was comparable to the mountains and seas, but in the end, he was even injured by the chi of this dead expert. If he was still alive, then it would be terrifying. Last time, Ming-He was injured by Su Yu's 2-peak Sun and Moon divine runes and was besieged by the Sun and Moon spirits of the dead. Thus, Su Yu did not feel much of it. Today, however, he felt some lingering fear. How dangerous! Last time, if it was not for the fortuitous coincidence, Ming-He would definitely have killed him with ease. So strong. Su Yu sighed and quickly circulated his heaven-splitting blade chi. This thing could not be moved randomly. Xiao Longwu had killed him, and the blade chi was contained within. He did not know how to use the heaven-splitting blade to randomly move the corpse. It was very likely that he would be killed by the blade chi.